Hi, this is Mark Arnold with another episode of Fun Ideas Podcast. I have two returning guests. One is Kamden Spies, and the other is Strum. And today we're going to talk animation. We've done this before, but it's a new year, and want to see what's going on in the world of animation in 2024. Oh no, this is the dreaded Flip the Frog. I haven't bought it. All right, all right. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Mark, you're the
I'm
only person who
guilty.
hasn't bought it.
Well, I'll tell you why I didn't buy it, and then you could both harangue me. Yes, I didn't buy it because, hey, I have them on DVD. I know that the Blu-ray's the upgrade, and Steve Stanfield spent his life savings in the world and
I can
going
assure
through
you it's
every
worth the
frame
upgrade.
meticulously to
The
take the
bonuses, the
dirty,
bonuses
and
are
then
half
there's
of
new
it.
bonuses that
Yeah,
I've
the
never seen
bonuses are
before.
half of it.
Yeah, but I will tell you this: I didn't say I wasn't going to get it. It's just I haven't got it yet. I mean,
Bonuses are
it's not
half of
like
it,
I
Mark.
don't get
Fair enough.
there. I don't get. Yeah, I do get Thunderbeam videos. See, I have one, and it's a Blu-ray
It's ironic.
too.
I moved all of them downstairs that I had up here earlier today because I was cleaning up a little bit.
Okay. And it's the same thing with Abbott and Costello show. I have, you can show it up. I have both seasons. They're on
I don't like
DVD
Abbott and
again.
Costello enough.
Yeah. Well, for me, if I didn't have it at all, I would buy the Blu-rays.
Camden, you look like you just saw me got shot in the face.
What?
You look like you just got you look like you just watched me get shot in the face after I said that. After I said I don't like Abbott and Costello enough to buy them.
See, I didn't say that about Flip the Frog, so you get off my back.
Yeah,
Anyway.
you don't. Yeah. He didn't. He never said that about. Mark has
I know, I'm
clarified that
being honest.
everything we mentioned. Mark has clarified. I'm gonna buy them eventually. It's just
I'll
that
probably get Abbott and
it's
Costello
just that I have
season
a
one
priority
eventually.
list, which is completely
I will
normal.
probably get season one, and I like the people that worked on those sets. I like Shane Fleming, who I have met a few times. He's pretty cool. And Paul Kessler.
Shane, you should have Mark. You should have Shane on your podcast.
Okay. Well, send me their contact info or send them my way, whatever.
And I guess this part's being cut.
No, we're not going to cut. Anyway, all right. Well, let's
Hi,
continue
Shane.
on the Abbott Costello thing. What's it's Cine? What's the group that makes those?
Well,
It's
two,
written on
the
the back of the thing.
3D Film Archive and Classic Flicks.
Classic Flicks. Yeah, I have their Jack and the Beanstalk, and I thought they did an excellent job.
That's really good too.
I need to get the Classic Flicks R Gang sets.
Yeah.
Yes, those are good too. Those are really good too. I have that too.
I just have no money.
That's what I said. Some people aren't rich.
No money too.
Camden.
I almost got it when they were having that ridiculous sale you pointed me out to.
Yeah, that's when I bought it. I bought it at a super sale from Hamilton Books. I wouldn't have bought it the other way because that thing is too expensive for me to buy on my own. Yeah. It'd be like it's like $160, but I bought it.
Is it on sale again?
I think it's still on sale for the exact same price.
It looks like they're just liquidating it. I might have to get it in that case. But
I think Hamilton liquidates everything. Hamilton will sell like J.B. Kaufman's Pinocchio book for like $14.
There's one book I'm looking to get,
set.
which is a visual history of the SS Adams Company.
It
is because the artist there was Louis Glackens, who is one of my favorite artists, and connecting this to animation, he animated for the Bray Studios. He did about 20 films for them. You can find one of his films called When Nights Are Bold from 1915 on YouTube, and collector Tommy Stathis also has a few additional within the Bray Films collection that he has.
Okay.
Now, Mark, I must tell you that I also don't upgrade always. Like for me, it was like, that the Hey Year There Yogi Bear set. I didn't upgrade it because
I actually did.
I'm thinking of buying that one.
You know why I did? I didn't originally want to get it, but when things are on sale, you mentioned it. One of you mentioned it.
Yeah, that's me too.
It was like $9, and I said normally it's like 12 or 15 or something. It was something cheap, and I said
I'm waiting for Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 2 to go on sale again. I think it might be right now because they're just trying to go sell those things like crazy now. I'm gonna pre-order Volume 2. I'm pre-ordering Volume 3 because I like the cartoons on that more than Volume 2.
Yeah, actually, one thing I do want to upgrade because I bought them originally on DVD because as a dumb shit I was going to say, but I didn't want to censor myself. Anyway, is the Popeye collections that Warner Archive put out. I bought them all on DVD, and then when Tex Avery came out, I bought them on Blu-ray, and now I'm like, I should have got the Popeye ones on Blu-ray. So I'll probably.
I have volume 3 on DVD from a friend who gave it to me for free when he upgraded.
I'm someone who if there's a DVD or Blu-ray available, I will always buy the Blu-ray, and I refuse to buy a DVD.
I'm that way
because,
now.
The one exception is I did buy Africa Screams, the Abbott and Costello one on DVD, because there was one Blu-ray copy, and the Blu-ray copy they were selling it for like $85. And the DVD they're selling it for like $13. And I'm like, well, screw that.
Yeah.
And it's the same content. That's the other caveat. It's the exact same content. I'm someone who will buy a new collection of something if there's even just a single extra commentary on something. Yeah. Like I bought Mysterious Island, Ray Harryhausen's Mysterious Island set.
Yeah.
Just so I can see the commentary of Ray and Tony Dalton.
I ended up buying a DVD recently. I still don't have it yet, but it was purely just for the fact that it is not on Blu-ray and it has a lot of stuff I've never seen.
Yeah. You were telling me about that.
Yeah.
It's from Looser Than Loose, which is mostly finished, but David Stevenson, who ran it, still custom makes the disc on order. He's been very nice about it. I'm looking forward to getting it. Maybe I'll have it by the time this is out.
Yeah. I withheld from doing Blu-rays as long as possible, and it wasn't because of anything other than cost, and it's like,
I get that.
I made
it's why I haven't bought a 4K thing, and also because the technology.
Yeah, that's why I don't have a 4K thing too.
Yeah,
4K isn't reliable.
I don't have a 4K TV. I can't afford a TV like that.
Yeah, right. And either way, 4K players aren't the most reliable yet. It would probably take another 4 years for that to happen.
I told myself once they release the 33 King Kong in 4K, then I'll cave.
They did a 4K restoration of that. It premiered at one of the festivals.
Yeah, but they haven't released it yet.
Yeah, they haven't released it yet, but it has been done, and I'm surprised it didn't happen last year because it was the 90th anniversary.
Because they don't care about it anymore.
It's kind of funny. On every video upgrade over the years, my criteria of whether to upgrade to the new one was always if Disney did something. I didn't get a DVD player until I knew Disney was putting out DVDs, and they put out Mary Poppins, and I said, all right, I'll get a DVD player, and then Blu-ray, I think it was Mary Poppins again. I won't get a Blu-ray player.
They put out Blu-rays fast though. They put out Blu-rays long before.
Yeah, they will exploit.
Yeah, they actually did on Blu-ray, but
now they're slowly
they used to be so
4K.
lagging behind on things, and
yeah.
Now Disney doesn't like any home video. They want to take it all back.
I'll say this is that they're slowly dipping their toes in the 4K, and they're finally giving their classic movies justice, like they did Cinderella and Snow White so far, and they also have Sword in the Stone ready. Mm-hmm. That's mostly based on feedback.
I am someone who just likes every Disney animated feature from that era. I hate Robin Hood and I hate all that other stuff, but I don't really like Sword in the Stone. I mean, it's got fun moments, but it's a dull
Sword
movie.
in the Stone was just an animator's paradise, in my opinion. It was animators animating the stuff they wanted to do, but that doesn't mean it was a very entertaining feature.
Yeah.
Which is the problem sometimes when artists actually write their own features or shorts where they're focused more on visual appeal, visual spectacle, rather than a cohesive narrative that can appeal to an audience.
But Alice in Wonderland is like that, and Alice in Wonderland is a great feature, I think.
I think it has its heart in the right place, but I think combining both of the books never 100% works because each book follows a different universe and what exactly happens in it.
Right.
Because I think Alice in Wonderland works because of Mary Blair, though, too.
I think it works because of the design, but I mean, when I try to think about it as an adaptation, it doesn't necessarily come together.
Yeah.
But that's just me. The artists did put a lot of love into it. They put a lot more love into that than they did into Sword in the Stone, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
and they had more budget, so they could make the visual spectacle even better.
Yeah. Ironically, the one version that keeps the stories separate is that 2-part TV version by Irwin Allen that came out in the 80s. Most of the time they do mish the two Alice books together. So
I love Carol's work, and the thing I always think about with merging the stories is that Wonderland is of course just a place of complete nonsense, and that anything can happen, but Through the Looking Glass is a world in reverse, because and it follows that, which makes it a little hard to combine both worlds when they underline different ideas.
Right.
Strum, who runs the Lou Bune and Alice social media pages? Is that Thunderbean?
That's not Thunderbeam. It is someone who's a big fan of the movie, and they are very excited for the Lou Bunnin set from Thunderbeam to come
They
out.
do a really good job at it. They do a really good job at it.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job for what that movie has. And I think that set's going to actually come out this year, believe it or not.
Oh
Finally,
yeah, that's gonna be good. It's
that's
gonna be a good
because I
one.
know, I know Steve worked with Lou Bunnin's estate on that, and I know they're actually going to put the Alice feature on, which is I think really
Is it
exciting.
Bunnin or Bunin? Is it Bunnin or Bunin? I've heard both.
I use Bunnin.
I've heard
I could
Bunyan.
it could be Bunin. I think
It
that
could
might
be
be
too.
something
Yeah,
that's more. That might be like a French pronunciation. I'm not certain.
it's Bunan. No, I
None.
don't know.
Je suis Strum. I took French in college. I'm still
You're,
in college.
you're Strum.
Je suis Strum.
Kamden
Je
Spies.
parle anglais en français. Une fois.
I took Spanish in high school for 4 years. I don't remember a thing about it. Not
Aw.
one little bit. Not one bit. My
You don't
mom
know.
was a college
Bingo.
dropout by
You
quickly.
don't know
Um,
tacos, enchiladas, burritos.
yeah, I know Mexican food. Didn't say it.
Hey,
Didn't say
Camden,
it.
We can speak Spanish.
you're a gringo. Now you remember saying.
So Strum, you brought up new releases. Let's talk about that. What kind of new releases are coming out? To your knowledge, that you can talk about
Okay,
Yeah,
on
so
that we could talk
Blu-ray?
about
Let's
without Mark
let,
editing.
yeah.
okay.
So
So for one, of course, is Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 3, which is coming out in a month. That's going to be very exciting. That's going to feature a lot of the classics. It has Mexican Joyride, which is great. That one's never had a release. It's going to feature. It has a nicer variety, I think, in Volume 2, where Volume 2 is expanding beyond what Volume 1 had in 30s and 60s. But I think Volume 3 is doing better because it has better shorts from those eras. Like it has some of the Egghead Elmer cartoons, like Egghead Rides Again, and some of the cartoons with early Elmer, like Cinderella Meets Fella and A Few There Was.
I'm still
They're
shocked, by the way. Can I interrupt by saying I'm still really shocked that Jerry hasn't put out a release of Cool Cat yet on a Blu-ray? Because
I
even
don't
though
think
that
Seven
nobody
Art.
likes Cool Cat, that seems like something Jerry would do.
I don't think they want to put out Seven Arts or the Patty Frying unless they have to, which I think is the case in some ways. I know for certain that the Bunny and Clyde shorts were only just put out as filler for that one set earlier, and I think one of the Superstar sets had them.
do you think they might put out like not volume 4, but like volume 12 down the line, the best of
Okay,
seven
yes,
arts or something
I think
like
it's
that?
going to happen.
Okay.
Not like volume 4 or 5, but I think eventually they're going to get to
Okay.
that point, or they might just do one cheap set with them all,
Right.
and with the
I
Daffy
think that they're
D's.
gonna. I think Jerry's gonna cave and put the first Cool Cat on one of the sets at random
He might.
because that just seems like something he would do.
That is a
I think
Jerry
they're
thing to do.
expanding a lot more. I think they're pushing the boundaries
That is the.
more towards the black and white era. Like I think
I
they're
don't.
eventually
I
going to
don't
do
think that they would.
harmonizing.
I don't think they. I don't think he'd put out all of them. And I don't think he'd put out a Daffy and Speedy. But I think he'd put out Cool Cat and like a random filler short right in the middle.
Yeah.
That would be funny, but I mean, they put out the one good short on Volume 6, Norman Normal. How do you sell the rest?
Yeah, the Normal's awesome. The
Norman Normal's pretty
Norman
cool. I
Normal
think
makes no sense, and that's why it works.
it makes no sense. It shouldn't have been made, and yet it's actually nice to watch.
It's perfect. It's
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite Warner Brothers shorts. Probably my favorite Warner Brothers shorts of the '60s.
Here's the question everybody always has. Okay, so um they always say, Jerry says this to death, well, we'll only keep making volumes as long as people keep buying them. Got it. Okay. But do you think that they will actually eventually, when I'm like 150 years old, have all 1,000 Looney
No,
Tunes on Blu-ray
no.
or
Okay,
whatever
Nope.
format?
that is a
Nope.
question I
Nope.
really can't answer because I'm again not a Warner person. But if I had to guess, they will put out probably most of that catalog. They've already put out a lot of the pretty horrendous, some of the really
We're
some of the
not going to
shorts with.
see Going to Heaven on a Mule out
We're
from a
not gonna
Warner
see.
Brothers
We're
film.
not gonna see. I think there's at least 2 dozen shorts we may never see released.
Yeah.
But I feel like they'll eventually put out Bosco's. They'll put out the Buddies. But I feel like
I
they
don't
would.
know about Bosco either.
Well, they did do one of them for streaming, and it sometimes airs on MeTV called Dumb Patrol. It's pretty nice actually. I
And
think
then
that they've been using the other ones as bonus features for both Bosco and Buddy for some of the Warner Archive sets. I think that is the route for some of the more challenge shorts that feature ethnic and racial stereotypes. That is what I think will happen. But I feel like that some of the worst shorts will not get released. That is my
And-
guess, and I cannot speak for what's
I
actually
don't
going to
think we'll ever see Coal Black. We can pretty much assure of that.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with that.
but
Yeah, me
I
too.
have a question about like obviously Mickey Mouse, the Steamboat Willie version went to public domain. Obviously, a lot of these characters are going to be going to public domain in the next 10 to 15 years.
Mhm.
So, do you foresee a complete Bugs Bunny set before Bugs Bunny goes public domain?
No,
Well,
because there's still all this in
the film
rabbits too.
copyrights. Yeah, the film copyrights, but I do.
Well,
In
that's
that
already in
Bugs
scenario,
public
Bunny's
I
domain.
do.
trademark too.
Yeah, but that one's already in public domain. All this and rabbits too.
Okay, so
Is
in that case,
Is it?
when all
Yeah.
of the film's copyrights expire, I do see some fanatic taking all of the restorations and putting them out on the set with his own film scans. I do see that happening.
Okay, but not
Depends
a
if humans
commercial,
Unofficial.
exist.
commercially released
I
from
do.
Warner.
You know what I do see though?
Yeah.
You bring up a. I was just about to say is that it's already leaving my head, but it should come as a bit of an indication that further shorts in Collector's Choice will probably have more of the challenge shorts because China Jones is on it for one. I think that's the most infamous one on the set, not just because it's racist, but also because it's a terrible cartoon.
Yeah, it's interesting though that China Jones got released on VHS all the time and all that though.
Yeah.
I only remember it being racist for one gag, if I remember right. I haven't seen it in a while.
Which one?
China Jones,
Wait, no, I mean as in which gag?
the Chinese gag, the middle one with Porky.
Porky Pig is a troll. Well, the thing is that they also reference a lot of Chinese laundry, which is in itself a very offensive thing because when Asian Americans first moved to America, they couldn't get jobs in anything but laundry shops. That's a real thing.
You know what always bothers me? I was telling Strum about this. That Linus the Lionhearted, the So High, the Chinese kid, right?
Yeah.
Half the things he does, like these animators don't know the difference between their Asian stereotypes because he's constantly doing things that are like Japanese.
Oh, they
were
do
too
that
busy
all the
being
time in the old
racist.
stereotypes.
I
They'd
know.
always mix Chinese and Japanese and whatever. I mean, if you were just
Korean, and I'm like,
the Eastern Asian type, you just got lumped all together. It didn't matter if you were from Laos or Vietnam or Cambodia.
yeah, but they
or,
wouldn't do that during World War II, probably. Because
they did rebrand. Well, they did rebrand Japanese lanterns as Chinese lanterns for home market.
Yeah, but World War II, China was an important American ally.
Yeah, that's why they rebranded Japanese lanterns, the Rainbow Parade, as Chinese lanterns.
Now you've obviously seen Life magazine, the old big magazine, but in their, I think it's their 50th anniversary book, which came out ages ago, but it's easy to find. They reprint an article that came out during World War II that said how to tell a Chinese from a Japanese. And they have a photo of the guys' heads, and it's like more slanty here, more wrinkle here,
Jesus
more, and
Christ.
it's like,
God damn it!
Can you really do that? I mean, it's like,
I don't think
legitimately.
So. No,
I mean, it's like obviously that was the time, and that's what they did. But it's an interesting article.
It's less about genetics. It's more about culture, which is
exactly. It's like
but that doesn't show off on a person except maybe in their clothes. But But you did mention Linus. I do know that there is a project involving that, but I don't know if it's actually going to make it to home video or not this year, so I can't talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know any details. Mark, when we tell you that we don't know any details about the Linus, we really mean it. We don't know anything about Linus.
I will tell you who keeps asking. Okay, so there's this guy named Danny Solazzi, I should say his name right. Danny Solazzi.
I convinced Danny to buy Flip the Frog. He bought it, by the way. I convinced him to.
Okay, Solazzi is always asking me about what's happening with Linus. What's happening with Linus? And I go, I don't know. And so that's why you've gotten these messages, because I know the least. You guys know more than I do. Now, if you can't reveal anything on this show, that's fine.
I think the only thing I can say is that it's starting to wrap up. But again, I don't know if that means it'll be released anytime soon.
Yeah, Mark,
in terms of things that are coming out and have come out, is that recently Van Buren's Tom and Jerry has gotten a Blu-ray upgrade, which is beautifully piano.
I'm waiting on mine because mine delivered at my house in Birmingham. So my parents, when they visit for their every 3 months their visit, every 3 months they're going to bring it to me.
Trimester.
All right. They're taking the triathlon to you.
No.
But that came out, and you can buy it on Thunderbean Shop.
Okay.
I believe that the next set that Steve is working on that is about to be sent to replication is Mid-Century Modern Volume 3. which contains a
Yeah.
lot of stuff from the late 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, involving very modernist stuff, like from UPA, some shorts for the Navy that they had done.
A lot of commercials.
Yep, an unofficial Dover Boy sequel.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Can,
I remember that.
can you answer this about Linus though? Is it still a Thunderbeam project, or has it moved on?
Um, Steve
Kind
himself
of,
tried
kind
doing a
of.
Linus project years ago, but wasn't able to really get it kickstarted. This
Right.
instead involves the estate behind Ed Graham, and
Oh,
I know
okay.
Steve himself contributed some prints for the project,
Right.
but it is not a Thunderbeam project.
Got it.
It
No,
Okay.
but
still
I
looks
think
very.
Steve
I
helped with
still
the
hear it looks very
restoration,
good
didn't he?
though.
Mhm.
Steve helped with the restoration, though, didn't he?
I don't actually know that. I don't. I nor do I. I don't know if he did or not. I would
Well,
say. I'm
I,
just gonna say no, just to be safe, but that would be a question for Steve himself.
yeah, I know
But in
when it
terms of what Steve
was.
himself is working on, the other
Yeah.
two that are looking to be this year are Lou Bunnin with Alice and Rainbow Parades Volume 2, which will have the Technicolor ones starring
That other Betty Boop set, I think, is going to be released this year, though.
and I think Camden and Mark's favorite part about Rainbow Parades is the fact that it'll have the rest of the Molly Moo Cow shorts coming out.
Oh boy.
I like the one where she gets blasted drunk because it looks like they were trying to make fun of Burt Gillette on that one.
Molly Moo Cow, the only series that makes Casper look good.
Casper is boring. Like, Mark, I bought that Casper set, and I tried watching them. Got to the third film, I'm like, I'm done.
Well, the new
I'll
Casper
tell you the
card.
one film that's good.
The
I like the 3D one. I think the 3D one is really good, even if it wasn't
There's a
3D.
few of them I like, but you can't binge them. They're
no,
unbingeable.
no, and
No, they're not even unbingeable. They're unwatchable.
the better ones are the later ones. So it's like,
I
Here's
think
what I
my,
did, Mark.
my
Mark,
favorite one
I'm going to give you
is
a
one
plug.
called Ghost of the Town, where he saves a child from a fire and he gets on Ed Sullivan's
Oh
show
yeah,
and
that
gets to
one's
sing
good.
the
Yeah.
themes. That one's not even by the
I like
regular
the
guy who
one
did
where
them.
I like the one where he's in an animation studio and the writers are like, I don't know, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, well,
I hate
they're
this
both
job.
are both of those are later ones. They're both from the late 50s.
Ghost of the Town is an
Yeah.
early one, but it's not by Myron Waldman, who did most of the
Oh,
Casper.
yeah,
That was by Steve Mafadi, who usually did little Audrey cartoons.
yeah.
I
He
like
was
the
one of
where
those guys at Famous Studios who was also a drunk,
Mark.
like George Rufo was a drunk. It is, I think he might have still been then, and he was earlier for certain.
Mark, I gotta tell you one thing.
Hmm.
Here's what I actually did. I actually listened to your audio commentaries and just skipped the cartoons.
How'd they sound?
They sounded better than the cartoons.
Oh, thank you. It's funny. I did those 13 years ago now. It seems forever, It's
I'm
like,
trying to think
I
of.
think
I'm
that
trying to think
I
of
think they
any
were
other things
better.
that are coming
I
out.
think your commentaries were better when you didn't have anybody next to you.
I'm
well,
trying to think of other things that are coming out because I do know that Warner's wants to explore other theatricals, but I have know nothing about that.
okay,
It was just mentioned by George Feldstein on one of his podcast appearances.
okay.
But it looks like the market for shorts is expanding, and I think Disney may even do more sets. I have no idea if they will.
I didn't
But
buy any of those Disney sets because I'm like Mark in this case, where I have all of them on.
I don't have them.
Well, I did.
I did buy.
There's one of them.
Yeah.
I bought Snow White, and that I think was a very worthwhile purchase, and it looks beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, I would. But here's the deal, though. It's also the principle of the thing with the Disney stuff because they're charging like. Think about it this way: Warner Brothers is getting out 25 shorts for about $20, and Disney's charging that exact same amount of money for about 9 shorts.
And they're not as good.
Right.
Yeah, they're not as good. That's a great point too.
Mm-hmm.
And their 9 shorts we've seen ad nauseum.
Well, there's 10 on this one. This is volume 2.
Yeah, that's $2 a short, Mark.
I know. Well, I doubt they would ever do just a general upgrade of the tins.
I bought. You know what I bought for the tins? I got the tins. I found a really really insane bootlegger on Facebook. I'm like, here you go. Now I wouldn't recommend. Now this guy is let's just say he's batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Hillary's Pizzagate. All of the stops. All of the right wing stops. He watch too much Tucker, I'll say that. If I was not white, it'd be the end of it, but I am. So I was able to purchase all of them for about $19. Done.
They were originals or copies?
No, just copies. But I
Oh,
have a
okay.
lot of the originals. I have all of Wave 2 of the originals. I have the Davy Crockett. I have Mickey Mouse Club set. And I have,
Yeah.
all of
I think
the two
I
Mickey
don't know
black and
when this
whites
will
ones.
happen. I
I got
don't
the
know if this,
Oswald one. I've got several of them on the
Mhm.
original tins.
Mhm.
But
I
just
know
all the
that
missing ones I was
I
able to
know that
get.
in progress, and that has been long in progress. Is now the flips clear is that the next really really big step would probably be Up Iwerks Comic Colors Volume 1,
Hmm. Okay.
I was
and
gonna skip that one too.
I mean
What?
those are going to
Yeah,
be
I'm
from the
scared for
original
her.
masters, which I don't think have been accessed for a long time, and most of them are going to come from the original camera material, which will look
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's really hard for me to upgrade all this stuff to Blu-ray from the standpoint is I'm not a big fan of all of it. I mean, it's
Yeah,
nice it's coming out. I mean, I would venture to buy a complete Terry Toons set in Blu-ray before the other because it hasn't been out
I
on
would too.
DVD. It's
I
like
would
I don't
too.
really want to upgrade all this other stuff, you know.
I would
So,
too.
you know, so
I know Steve is also doing. I don't know if I also don't know when this is going to happen, but I know he's been slowly doing a upgrade of the Cartoons DVD.
yeah.
Oh
But I
yeah,
really
that's awesome. Those
but I
are
really
awesome.
do want to get Flip the Frog. I mean, I will admit
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
the
Coltoons,
Coltoons
I think the big
DVDs.
selling point of Coltoons is going to be the fact that Les Sultan's Monkey Duels is going to be sourced from a
No,
35
no, no,
night
no.
series.
The best thing about Coltoons is those audio commentaries. Those are the funniest fucking things I've ever listened to in my life.
Who does them? Who's interviewed or?
Milton Knight,
Oh, okay.
Steve Worth, Jerry Beck, and Mark Hausler are just riffing on these cartoons. The best one is Mr. E in Tau City, where Milton just yells, "What the hell is that?"
No, those are
It's
the
the
best
funniest thing.
commentaries.
I love Melt. I love Melt.
Those are the best
Milton, yeah,
commentaries. Yeah.
Milton's local here. He just had an exhibit a while back, and I unfortunately I was the only person to show up. But
Aw. Hi,
Hmm.
Milton.
I
We need to
really
bring
feel
him back
bad
on the
for
show.
him. I really feel
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
for that whole.
But
I'm
Milton's
looking at
but he's the Monkey Doodles commentary. Milton just yells, "Look it! It's a Jewish monkey stereotype. You don't see any of those ever."
I mean, you want to know want to know the interesting thing about Les Elton?
What?
He was at Disney for 10 years after that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he went to Disney. There's a magazine he worked on after he left Disney that says he was there for 10 years. And we know that he was at Disney, but we don't know what he did.
Sweeping up.
Everything.
But I mean, I've seen his name on a few model sheets, and then I know that he also likes building like model planes and trains. Charlie Junkins had told me that from Les's niece. So it looks like he may have done stuff with Up Iwerks in the mechanics department
Yeah,
building
that's what I was
stuff.
going to ask. Was he still working on films? Because a lot of these people that get,
I genuinely, if he was animating, we would know.
Yeah.
Not just by evidence in the Disney archives, but also the fact that we would probably also see it on film because I've seen some of his work after he left Disney, and it still looks just as weird. It looks like stuff from the Hobo Hero. Yeah, he was still
The Hobo
drawing in that.
Hero is the weirdest thing ever. So Mark, can I
Hmm.
explain you this story?
Okay.
Middle of the night. I'd never seen this cartoon. Middle of the night, probably 2 a.m. Strum sends me a link. It's for the Hobo Hero. He says, "Watch this late at night." And I watch this thing. I'm like, "What the hell did you just send me?"
I sent you know what's even funnier? I also sent it to a friend while she was high, and I didn't even know
No,
she was
you
high.
sent it to me the exact same moment she was high. You sent it to both of us.
I couldn't help it.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
It was she had a much harder time confiscated because
Contemplating, I'm sure.
it was
Now I'll have to
crazy.
see it. Anyway.
Mark, you know what you should do? You should edit and put the Hobo Hero just below us the whole time.
The Hobo Hero.
I think it was just a whole different world for Les Sultan. And you know what's even crazier? In between Monkey Doodle and the Hobo Hero, his two main films to fame, he worked on a short for Van Buren and he contributed some animation to a feature. The one for
you know that they did a Monkey Doodle pin when they were doing those character pins? You know that?
I had no idea, but I wonder if they were if that was a coincidence or not. But
no, but and then it's at that exact moment, Mark, you know those character pins where it's like Betty Boop, and then it was like
Yeah.
all the
oh,
they had this
those
whole
that's Marty the Monk,
hundreds
not
of
Simon
different.
the Monk.
No, 100. No, it was Monkey Doodle, I think.
No, it was Marty the Monk, but that makes you
Oh,
wonder
Marty the
just
Monk.
how
Yeah. Thank you, Marty the
Okay.
Monk.
Marty the I do know from my own notes and such is that since the cartoons have come out, Mexicali Lily has surfaced with its track. So I think that's another
I
interesting
have
thing.
no idea what that is.
That is the third Marty the Monk short that isn't like the other two. But until some time ago, it hasn't been seen with its soundtrack, and now it has, which is great.
I have a
Marty the
question.
Monk. I gotta
Marty
remember.
the
I
Monk
gotta
is an
figure out.
interesting case. There's stuff in that was traced from Binko the Bear Cub.
Oh yeah, the first Warner Brothers character.
No, that was Buster Bear. There's way too
Oh
many
yeah,
of these
Buster Bear.
odd
Buster
shots
Bear.
to keep focus on. Like, I eventually want to make a book on the transition from sound to sound, and I'm gonna have to note like a dozen different characters that made one
Yeah.
short and got dropped.
Does the Binko does the bear, the first Warner Brothers cartoon, exist? But
Buster
wait, is it the first Warner Brothers cartoon though? Because didn't Willis O'Brien's Caveman cartoons weren't they distributed through Warner Brothers?
I can't remember that. I can tell you is that Warner's almost distributed Coco the Clown and Felix the Cat.
I know they almost distributed
The thing
Buster
is
the
they
Jet shorts.
ended up decided to send Marco Winkler to distribute those, and I think Warner's didn't end up distributing anything. What's interesting is that before they purchased First National, which sort of became their sister distributor, is that First National was going to distribute Felix's in sound, but none of that ever happened. But oddly enough, there's a
Educational
poster that
distributed
circulates
Felix,
for
didn't
First
it?
National.
Didn't Educational and Mutual both distribute Felix?
Before Educational dropped Pat Sullivan shortly before this because Pat Sullivan didn't want to do sound, and then he picked up with First National, but it looks like nothing ever came of that deal except a poster that I have, which
I thought
may
Mutual
actually.
Films distributed Felix, though.
Well, Mutual didn't distribute Felix, to my knowledge, but Copley did. Copley did afterwards. They distributed new Felixes, and they took the last season of Educational Felixes and branded them with sound with no intertitles. Which may have been my guess is that originally those were supposed to be released through First National, but I can't prove it.
Strum, you know a lot about this than any of us here.
Yeah.
I love sound reissues. I love those sound reissues. That kind of thing.
I didn't know some of those.
You have to make a cat sound that's high pitched, and you have to be as bored as possible. Something like that.
Oh yeah. I know what you're referring to now. I was thinking about it, like, what the hell are you doing? Oh yeah, those Felix title cards that have those weird cat noises.
Felix doesn't shut up throughout the entire cartoons when they're reissued.
And
then you're thinking official films who distribute them for television.
Who did Mutual Films distribute it?
I don't think Mutual Films did any cartoons.
They didn't?
Or you're thinking of a different studio and you're just saying Mutual, because Mutual may have done some stuff in the 1910s, but that would be it. They didn't distribute Bray, they didn't distribute Munjeff, they didn't distribute anything major. They may have distributed one small animator.
All right, now let's also talk about what Tommy Stathis is doing.
Yeah.
It's all you now.
All right, I'm gonna go in a bit of an order because this year will be the year that his
Strum. Only talk about what you can because Mark's gonna get mad at me for editing this.
All right, so
I'm leaving it in. So if you say it, it's going to go up. You're exposing the world.
All right, so first are the two Kickstarters for Dinky Doodle and Out of the Inkflow. Those will be done. It looks like they are wrapping up close as of now. I wouldn't know though. That's just what I think of what I last heard. I do know that scoring has been concluded at least on them. I think I'm not certain, but it looks like the lineups are also pretty finalized, which is great. Then after that will be a Farmer Alfalfa collection of 15 of his films, including many of his highlights like Down on the Phony Farm. Farmer Alfalfa's Wayward Pup is also probably going to be on there, and Dinner Time, which of course beat Disney to the punch of sound. It also helps.
Only one of those cartoons I knew the title of.
And then there'll of course be some Fable, some Bray cartoons, maybe some of the Van Buren and some of the P.D. Terry tunes that he appeared in. And then after that will be Walt's Early Wonderlands, an expansion of the Turner Classic Movies program everyone saw last year at 7 a.m.
Yeah, that was great.
all of those
I
classic
guess
Disney
9 a.m.
silents.
for I guess 10 a.m. for you, Mark, and your
Oh no! Oh
No,
no! It
it'd be
did
the
air at
other way.
7 a.m. for him. Oh no! It aired at 6 a.m.
Yeah, I was.
That was the 6 a.m. program up over there.
I didn't see it in any case.
Well,
I was
it's
probably
so
either
so it'll be
sleeping
an
or getting ready
expansion
for
of
work.
it'll be an expansion of that program. You'll see
Okay.
Laugh-O-Grams, you'll see the Alice
isn't
comedies,
he working on
Alice
an official
comedies,
Mm.
and you'll see Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Mark
Mm.
Strum really hates the Alice comedies, like with a passion.
And why?
Everyone likes them because Disney made them. That's the
Oh,
only
okay.
That's
reason people
true.
like them.
Hmm.
But you know what?
I've
I at least recognize I at
I
least
will agree with
recognize why
Strum.
they're important.
I will agree with Strum. I think that historically they're important, but I'll agree with Strum. They are not as enjoyable as people will say they are.
They're any other silent I would prefer watching, even those terrible crazy cats.
Even those terrible British cartoons that I showed you.
I'm trying to think of which ones you're talking. I like Bonzo.
The Trolls and Tyke, the Tyke cartoons.
I like how stupid they are. Except
Yeah.
the thing is that
They're
the
horrible.
Alice's try to be more competent.
They're
And they're not.
horrible. Those Jerry the Tyke cartoons.
Yeah, but they're dumb. There's
They're
you know
dumb.
what's funny?
Exactly.
The
They're
British
dumb.
really tried doing a lot of different characters, but ultimately they always feel like very poorly made intimidations. Like in the Sound era, there was Bingo the talking dog. There's that. Have you ever seen
They're
that?
always what is with their obsession in random dogs? Because they're just always
I guess.
Tyke, the Tyke.
Have you ever seen Bingo?
No.
it sounds
I'll
familiar.
just send you that because
Okay.
that's a very fascinating cartoon. I've only ever seen
You
it in
said it
a
was horrible.
dubbed print, but it is a fascinating cartoon.
Fascinating, horrible.
And
Anyway.
and the other thing is I can think of is that in the late silent era, they had a guy called I believe his name was Joel Noble,
Mhm.
and he did a Dinky Doodle like series for in the Review magazine. I forget what the name is, but it's based on a British dish. It's not Bubble and Squeak, but it's
Don't
a
expect
different
us
name.
to know.
I have a question for you. Okay. So
Yeah.
everybody's talking about Steamboat Willie Mickey, but what about Oswald? All the Disney ones. Now, some
All
have
of the
come
Disney
out
ones are PG.
separately on Blu-rays, like as a bonus feature or whatever, and then they had that one treasure tin. Is there a chance anybody, it doesn't even have to be Disney because
There,
it's public domain, would put
right.
a good compilation out of all
What
the
I can say is that
available
for the
Oswald?
longest time,
What?
here's what
Sorry.
I can
Well,
here's what I'll
I
say.
know
Wait, one at a
that.
time. Come on. Strum first.
So
Well,
some
I'll go
Oswalds, some of the
first.
early ones will be on Walt's Early Wonderlands.
Okay.
Those
I
were
remember
on the Turner Classic Movies program. You had the first release one, which was Strawberry Troubles. You had Oh Teacher, and then you had the Mechanical Cow. So those will probably be on there.
Mhm.
Some, and then Tommy has other ones, and there can be other ones that could make up another set, but I wouldn't know about that. 'Cause I don't even think such a thing would be in the works. But on Disney's end, for the longest time, an Oswald Blu-ray was probably the most likely of anything, but it just never happened.
I know that the last time I remember when I brought Steve Stansfield here, Mark, he did announce that there was going to be a reissue of his Oswald Blu-ray.
That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I never got the Oswald Blu-ray.
You don't know any more than that, other than what he
No,
said?
I don't know any more than what he said last time he was
Oh,
here.
okay.
I think
What about
Tommy's putting out.
Strum? What about I know this is something I can say because Tommy announced it basically bluntly to Facebook. On Facebook, not even personally, just in general, like that they're going to work on a animation before Mickey. I think that's the title. I might be mixing up the title of that with Don Crafton's book. Um, the special that was on TCM, they're going to release a Blu-ray.
Yeah, that will yeah. Tommy wants to put it on Blu-ray. It'll probably happen eventually. I think even I forget his name. He's such a nice guy, but he ended up doing a nice little interview about it. And I believe, and that'll probably be on Blu-ray eventually. I don't know when, but it will.
That'd be nice if he like did an audio commentary of it.
I wouldn't know about bonuses too much, but I think it's not out of the realm where there could be some sort of commentary over it. At least a nice interview with some of the footage on it would be nice. But that's such an interesting thing because originally he was going to do the entire silent era, and it was like over 2 hours long, and its premiere had no music, so it was like it was probably very dreadful for whoever had to watch it without any music. But
Mark, can I ask you a quick question about audio commentaries?
Sure.
What made the decision? So when you guys were doing the Patty Freeling sets,
Oh, you mean
what were the thoughts? What was the
the
thought process?
oh, the
What was the thought process of those audio commentaries? Because I gotta tell you right now, I've said this to you before. There are multiple compilation videos of Jerry Beck just dying on those Crazy Legs Craig commentaries. There's like 8 minute intervals of like the best of Jerry's Crazy Leg Craig online on
okay.
I
YouTube.
love that. Jerry
Well,
Beck loves Crazy Legs Crane.
I'll
No,
answer
no,
that.
no, there's a different one. There's a 5 minute version. It's really funny.
I'll answer that, but I have a question for you first because you mentioned, and I'm like baffled by it. That's why I made a face. The commentary you said you're better when you're by yourself on the Casper one. Was it you mean better than when I'm interviewing someone else on those?
Yeah, because when you're interviewing,
Oh,
when you're by yourself on the Casper one, you're talking about the comics, you're talking about what origins of something,
oh, okay,
and
yeah,
it feels like the interview, with the exception of like the one with whoever's the daughter of so and so,
yeah,
and like the Bradley Bulky one, it seems like just feeler. It seems like y'all are just talking in dead air the whole
yeah.
time with
Well,
no
I'll
one
tell.
saying anything.
Okay, so I'll answer that, and then I'll answer the
The the
the
the
Patty
the
Freeling
the
one.
the
Okay, okay.
the by the way, I like Wally Wingert a lot, but the commentaries for the total television sets are much worse.
Yeah. Okay, so on those were done for Shout Factory. Shout Factory had this crazy idea, which I don't know why, that they had to record the audio over the phone in real time when we were like
What?
watching the cartoon live. So I only had like those total television cartoons. A lot of those cartoons are only 5 minutes long or less. Some are three, and it's like to fit any sort of meaningful conversation, and you have to keep it
Yeah,
going,
you're
and
Joe
you have to
Harris.
keep it
You're
in. It was insane, and that was like one of my first commentaries. So I was juggling all that. So when I got to the Casper one, where I'm talking by myself, I was more comfortable because I knew the cartoon. I knew the cartoon was like 5 to 7 minutes long, and I could kind of gauge it and say what I was supposed to say, and I had my notes. When you're doing it kind of live and off the cuff, and you're trying to act natural and not scripted, it's really tough. So anyway, so that's that set. Those are those Shot Factory sets, and that was what I did 13 years ago. Okay, so the Patty Freeling ones for Kino Lorber. Okay, so Greg Ford called me out of the blue because I had just done my Patty Freeling book. And he goes, "Oh, Mark, you wrote a book." And I go, "Yeah, you might be able to do commentaries." And I go, "Okay." and so, it originally
all
was
of the
just,
commentaries are good except for the Crazy
well,
Legs Craig ones.
originally it was only going to be the Pink Panthers. That's it. It wasn't going to
Well,
be anything
I'm
else.
glad they
That would
didn't,
have been
because
a
those
nice
Inspector
reality.
Yeah.
commentaries are great.
And I don't know if Jerry, because Jerry recorded his stuff separately. I did mine at home. He did his in his home. I was the one who kind of pressured Greg on my end. I don't, like I said, I don't know if Jerry did, to do at least Anthony Aardvark and the Inspector, and
And Roland and Ratfink.
Roland and Ratfink, because the early ones. They said I didn't care too much if
Blue Racer.
Godfather, Dogfather, and Hoot Clute and those came out, but I at least wanted the early ones out, and eventually it just got to the point where we did a little bit more, a little bit more. It took us like 3 years to do those. Now, for some bizarre reason, they didn't do them all chronologically. So the last one we ever did was Mr. Jaw. Crazy Like Crane was
I don't
done
mind
way
Mr. Jaw, honestly.
Crazy Legs Crane was recorded early on with like Anthony Aardvark or something. And so when you compare those two series side by side, it's like night and day. And so, you know, I could tell Jerry was struggling, and Jerry even told, because we'd call each other and talk about these things and stuff like that, even though we did everything totally independent of each other. And he says, "Mark, you're gonna love my commentary because I hate Crazy Legs Crane," and he admitted it.
I mean,
And
And
you
so
could
do
tell.
we. I
and
was arguing with somebody about this, and I was arguing with, I think it was like Nelson Hughes. I'm like, Crazy Legs Crane was the worst. And Nelson's like, "Are you sure with him?" I'm like, "Yeah."
That's the worst
Because
for
those
DePatie
cartoons are
Freeling.
just bad. Those cartoons
That's
are
the
just
worst for DePatie
bad.
Freeling. I mean, the character itself's not too bad. I mean, he appears in a couple Blue Racer cartoons, a couple Tijuana Toad cartoons,
I
so
mean,
it's like
I
he's
actually think the
okay.
Blue Racer commentaries are okay because
Yeah.
you got those. What I think what works with those commentaries that makes it really good is when you guys would piece in those
Those
audio
Blue Racer
commentary
cartoons
snippets
are
of
really
like,
weird, though. Some of those are really weird.
yeah,
Well, the
they are weird.
There's
well,
also those
I
ones that
love
got
the Jerry's
outsourced that
comment.
have. There's that one I remember that got outsourced and it has some really crazy backgrounds in it.
I love Jerry's comment about the dragonfly in the Crazy Train. It's like even I want that character to die.
I remember that.
I
But
remember I remember David H. DePatie, he once said that he never got a complaint about any of the stereotypes that were in those cartoons, which shows that no one was watching them.
that's probably true. But
I
also,
think I think the best thing that came out
but
after like Anna the Aardvark was Mr. Jaw because I think that was just a
Roland and
better
Ratfink.
concept. Roland and Ratfink made 3 good cartoons and the rest of them suck. And that was before.
I think Roland and Ratfink is a good series, but I think that Mr. Jaw is actually a decent series, and you guys all clarified that in your commentaries that the.
well, I said it was
But
a
I
good
think what works
series.
some of the Blue Racer commentaries is who was the guy that they outsourced the animation to?
Bob Balzer in Spain. He
Yeah,
had his
you have about half those
Didn't he do one in
commentaries had
Australia?
audio snippets.
Peg Bar was his animation studio. So
Did
About
they do
half
one
those
in
audio
Australia? I feel like
commentaries,
they did.
wait, what?
but half those audio commentaries have interview snippets of him, which makes the commentaries work.
Yeah, because they came from my audio interviews.
Yeah, they work.
Yeah,
They made them work. They
yeah.
make the commentaries work.
Okay.
I'm just trying
Yes,
to.
they did outsource some to Australia too. Bob
Yeah,
Balzer didn't work
that's
on
what I was
those.
thinking with the
Yeah,
ones with those crazy backgrounds.
yeah, and those are just weird, and a lot of information isn't even known about those very well because they just kind of did it. I mean, DePatie Freeling did a lot of strange things. You know, it's like when they outsourced like all the um, Roadrunner cartoons.
Yeah,
Yeah, they didn't really do any formal agreement. They just almost said like, here, Herb, take him. You know, it's like,
I
Hey,
gotta
we're
ask
gonna
you
go.
another Patty Freeling
You want to
cartoon.
shit in our toilet? Here,
yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Mark, I gotta ask you another question. What
Huh?
the hell is with Germany's obsession with "Here Comes the Grump"?
I don't know. Has anybody seen? Have you either of you seen the CGI film that they made of it recently in
No,
recent
No.
I
times?
didn't know. I didn't. Wait. There's a CGI film of it.
Yeah, it's called The Wizard's Tale or something like that,
Yeah, it
and
was made
it's
for international audiences.
yeah, and it is Here Comes the Grump. I've never bought it because I only wanted to pay a couple bucks for it. It's always like $15 or $20, and I'm like, I don't want to pay a big price for it. I just want to see it, you know. So, you
Rent
know,
it.
yeah. Well, there's no renting around here. I don't think it's available. Maybe it is, but it's called A Wizard's Tale, and it's like it came out after my book came out, so I couldn't even talk about it. Had it come out before the book came out, I probably would have bought it. It's
Mhm.
hard for me to splurge for something
But
after a book
why?
comes out.
Why out of any cartoon in the world? Why Here Comes the Grump? Is it just because? Well, is it just because
I think it's because of its
they didn't
being
have enough.
wizard, and wizards are kind of cool, but I honestly don't know anything about it.
No, but why out
Yeah,
of any cartoon Germans could like? Why did they choose Here Comes the Grump about another mustached man running around running amok?
yeah. My guess, and it's totally a guess. Well, first of all, it was made for TV, so it was easily
Mhm.
accessible. It wasn't
Well,
a
there's a lot
it,
of better TV
well, I'm
cartoons,
just talking
Mark.
about the Patty Freeling stuff. It wasn't a licensed thing, so it wasn't like Doctor Dolittle was licensed, Oddball Couple was licensed, the
Yeah, the
Barclays was
Flintstones was
licensed. You know,
licensed.
all these things are licensed. You know, Planet of the Apes was licensed. You know, it's like all these things.
How come couldn't do the Super Sex cartoons instead?
They could have, I suppose,
Super President.
but here's the problem with those two shows, Super President, and they're still tied up with that Mirish company. And I think Here Comes the Grump was the first. I might be speaking out of school on this, but I think it was the first one without Mirish involvement. It was like just a Patty Freeling solo, and it wasn't a licensed thing.
I
That
love the
doesn't,
tasteless Super
you know,
President.
but also, you know, we were talking earlier about Alice in Wonderland. It has Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland kind of overtones and
Yeah.
weird shit like that. So, you know, I don't know. It's like, I guess it's more accessible to your
But they like
other
it. But
countries.
out of any, I'm talking about out of any TV cartoon, for some reason they gravitate towards Here Comes the Grump.
The only other thing, and this is an unknown too, I'm guessing, is over the years odd things have become really popular in other parts of the world,
Yeah,
mainly
like
due
Wacky Races in
yeah,
Japan.
well, mainly due because they had some oddball licensing agreement or distribution agreement, and it just happened to play more than another series, and
Yeah.
so people
Here
grew
Comes
up
the
with
Grump
it.
was that
Yeah,
that movie was made for some sort of
like
international audience, which means
yeah,
that it probably ran to depth somewhere else or was
yeah.
merchandise there.
It's just like Woody Woodpecker's really popular in some other countries. Top Cat's really
Brazil.
popular in other countries.
Yeah.
I think it's
Both were licensed
yeah,
into Spanish films.
yeah.
Well, I
Well,
think
well,
Um,
well,
Woody
well,
was
Woody
licensed to
Woodpecker. You know that's
Portuguese
getting
though.
another movie, Woody Woodpecker.
what about it?
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Yeah,
They're making a
that's
sequel
gonna
to
in
that.
April. Netflix is premiering another Woody Woodpecker movie.
Yeah.
That's been planned for years. What I'm gonna guess is that it got shelved at some point. They had finished it and they didn't know if they had
I
a
mean,
market for it because the
But if
first
I
one did.
remember right, the Woody Woodpecker film originally was planned for American audiences. Like the very beginning of that film, that
yeah.
the origins of that film, they had been planning that for an
Yeah, they
American
were. It was
audience.
initially going to be an Illumination film, but then it got
Mhm.
moved to a
Uh,
Yeah,
B movie, a B movie, and then it was made for Brazilian audiences who
yeah.
also hated the movie, and now they're going to do a second one. I'm guessing
Mm.
the second one was just made. I guess it was made cheaply or something, and they decided not to release it. And I guess now they are because the Lance cartoons finally have an audience with MeTV, and Netflix distributed that first one on their streaming service recently, and it went to #1 because of Woody on MeTV, which is why I think there's now a market for it. That's
Mhm.
just my
I thought
speculation.
it went to the one #1 because some internet meme.
Mm. I
I
mean,
heard that there was some internet meme on Reddit that made it go #1.
I don't know about that, but I think Woody on MeTV may have played on
I
a
mean,
little hand in that.
even our own country has really oddball things. I mean, if you were a person from another planet who came to the United States and tried to do something about U.S. cartoons, you'd probably think that all we made were Scooby Doo, Tom and Jerry, and SpongeBob SquarePants cartoons, and that's it.
Yeah,
Simpsons,
or The
Simpsons,
Simpsons.
yeah, and that's it. It's like because all these other cartoons have just kind of floated away. But why are those more popular here than say anywhere else, or but
But
Yeah,
like,
you
but
know
Simpsons
like,
doesn't have the best international audience. Like most countries
yeah,
don't watch it, except
yeah.
Mexico, which really
like
likes it.
Wacky Races has like this weird obsessive following in Japan. There's very few cartoons I can think of that are worldwide international stars, like The Simpsons and the Peanuts characters and Garfield are the only two things I
Well,
can think of.
well, well, I would not say that about the Simpsons. I think people know about them, but people don't like
I think
them.
that no, I think The Simpsons is really popular overseas and to an
I
incredibly
might I
amount.
might be wrong, but I'm thinking also because I know that Japan didn't take well to them.
Hmm.
No, no,
I
like,
might
but
be.
like if you look at like in Portugal they literally have rip off the Duff beer factories that keep running
Oh,
after multiple
Yeah.
lawsuits. They still run.
well, Simpsons
Okay,
was
so I was
huge
thinking.
in
Okay, so
Germany.
in
I don't know.
Spanish and
The
Portuguese
Simpsons is
audiences,
huge.
I can assure you that probably is the case.
Yeah,
The Simpsons is huge in China too because it keeps
yeah.
getting bootlegged because it's against the law. So it's like the #1 most pirated illegal show in China.
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry has always been very popular worldwide because again, it's not a lot of dialogue and it's easy
Yeah,
to.
Yeah, but The
and
Simpsons
that's
is
like Pink
popular
Panther
also
too.
because The Simpsons is it's probably the only show in the world that has the profits to be able to easily that has the money and has the capability to easily just dub all of their things in the exact same voices as to an overseas cast.
You know that Clarence
You know
Nash
that
had
you
to
know
do
the
Donald's voice for
French
all the
voices of
international
Homer
dubs.
Archer's.
Wait, one at a time. What?
You know that Clarence Nash had to do Donald's voice for every language when he was alive?
I think I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah, he had to do it because no one else could do the voice for the longest time. And
So they
I
gave
don't know
him
how
to
many of
his.
those I don't know how many of those they have, but he even talked about it that he would have to learn it. They would write the
Did he
script
do
out
that for
very
all of
literally.
them? Forever? Did he do that? But they didn't dub those cartoons originally, though, did they?
They may have dubbed post-war, they may have dubbed those Donalds.
You
Yeah,
can't
but
even
they didn't
understand.
dub a lot. I don't
Why do you?
remember them. I didn't know even know they dubbed that early.
You can't
Cartoons
even.
that early.
You can't even understand Donald Duck in English. Why do you need to?
I don't understand that rumor. I've always understood
Hmm.
what he was talking about. For the most part, I've
I can
always
understand the new guy as Donald a lot more than Clarence Nash though.
Yeah.
I don't like the new guy. I think the new guy is
The
really
new, the new
arrogant.
guy the new guy makes it a lot clearer what Donald's saying. I'll say that.
I think the new guy is really kind of bully to people because um like I know that he got really mad at somebody who was doing comic books because he was taking away the fame of his hero Jack Hanna and focusing on Karl Barks.
I don't think that's is that the guy who voices Donald? I don't think so.
I don't know who does the
That
current
might be
voice.
someone else.
Yeah.
But I do.
I've lost track. I mean, it used to be easy to keep track, but because they keep the same people for so long, but they switched voices recently a few times, so I don't know.
Yeah, the guy who voices Donald is so busy, and also the fact that he is an animator that they had to have a third guy voice Donald for some of the more minor projects.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
which is again, a good testament to Donald's popularity, not in the States but just in general, because they also bring those.
I think Strum and I were arguing with this that I think that Donald is probably with the exception of like Snoopy, Donald is probably the most popular internationally, the most
I think
successful
he is.
character of
I
all
think he
time.
is at this point, even more than Mickey Mouse, who's an American
The
icon.
only exception I would say is probably Snoopy is probably the most popular
Yeah.
fictional character of all in any country ever.
And Garfield. Hey, I like lasagna.
Hello, Kitty.
Snoopy is popular. Like in Japan, I don't know if you've heard about the Peanuts exhibit in Japan, Mark. The Peanuts
They
Museum in
call it
Japan.
Snoopy comic in Japan.
Yeah, the reason why they have that, why they have that exhibit. That was supposed to be a traveling exhibit, but I got so popular, they just left everything there. They just kept it as a sequel. They had nothing to do. It was making them so much money that they couldn't top it.
Wow. Well, at least
But
we have
the museum needed the profit, so they just left it.
I've learned, I figured this out, is that Japanese audiences really like pantomime. They really like pantomime stuff for children. Like they like that.
What did Don Ariolo say? Don Ariolo said the Japanese only like characters in black and white, which is Mickey Mouse, Felix the Cat, and Snoopy.
Well, I think that might be a part of it. I don't think it's a big part, but they also like Pingu a lot, who's also black and white and orange.
Yeah. Well, they also like characters that lend themselves being logos. I noticed Hello Kitty is kind of a logo.
Yeah, they do a lot of merchandising, which makes sense.
Yeah. So
I love the what is that country that has the Garfield ripoff and how like he is like hated to the point to where like there are national statues of him being poured out and destroyed in the streets.
Is this the United States with the popular comic strip Heathcliff?
No. He's gotten in trouble for stealing from Watterson, Heathcliff. They actually called him Crazy Cat in the United States because they didn't know what to call him. Because
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name.
I don't know either. I think it's like Don Quixote.
It's not Bill the Cat, is
it? No, but he stole from him too.
Yeah, okay.
And it's such a national plagiarist that literally, it is like the most graffiti statue in whatever country it comes from. It is like a national terror. They had to take it down because it was such a threat.
Wow. Interesting.
Now, Mark.
Yes.
You had other sets you were going to show.
Did I? Oh, well, I showed various things at various times. I don't know. I showed the Woody Woodpecker one at one point. There.
Yeah. I have two two copies of that.
You want to send me the other one?
I don't have
it.
Is there a chance of a second series of this one, or because I know
I would not say so. I honestly don't think so, especially because it's been a little while since then.
Okay.
What I do think is possible is that there could be.
Margaret accidentally sent me two.
I think they might I think they might issue Lance cartoons on Blu-ray again. I don't think so though, because they are doing new HD masters of those really terrible ones from the 60s and 70s that you see on YouTube.
Mark, you and I were talking about this a while back. You know that Universal article, Mark. You and I remember when you were talking about Universal's restoration plan.
Yeah.
For NBC Universal, they were saying the classic cartoons, and they didn't mention Rocky and Bullwinkle. They didn't mention, or was this Strum, or was this you and I talking about this?
I mean, Felix is out of the question. I don't think they're ever. They didn't mention Harvey.
No, but they said they were restoring all the classic cartoons, which was He-Man, Woody Woodpecker,
He-Man,
Mr. Magoo, and only the television ones. I point out.
So it's the classic media stuff, in other words.
Classic media stuff, but
classic
not
media
including
and
Rocky
those terrible Lance
they own. Not including Rocky and
I'm gonna keep shoving that down the throat. The terrible Lance cartoons.
What is it again? Anyway.
I mean, yeah. You see the most beautiful looking ones because they get all their prints from all over the place when they air them on MTV. But the best looking ones are always the terrible ones.
Yeah, about 3/4 of Lance cartoons are all bad.
I would say half actually, but that also includes the black and whites, and like half of those are just so forgettable. Jesus, like even the Oswalds at some point become really forgettable.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Oswalds are good. The early Oswald Lance cartoons are really good though.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
But I actually like the 1950s. I actually like a few of I actually like all of the 1950s shorts. But I really like a part like Termites from Mars. I'm like, people only give credit
John
to the
Patterson was a great director at Lance. He and Cole Hain were the best directors, followed by Lundy.
People only give credit to the 1940s Lance cartoons, but look at like Termites from
Well,
Mars is
there's
awesome.
there's some good ones in the 50s, even a
Yeah,
couple
there's
good
also
ones
those
in the
people
Vortex
talk about the
60s.
best Lance
cartoons.
cartoons. They always label the 40s, but Termites from Mars,
Yeah.
Crazy Mixed Up Pup.
I mean,
Some
of them are on here.
Point.
Some of them are on here. They're from the 50s.
I know.
Yeah. So
now the bird that came to dinner is a bad cartoon that's on there.
I think you know what I think.
That's a better cartoon. I think that's a better cartoon than a lot of the other ones. Would you agree with that, Strum?
Which one?
The bird that came to dinner, the one with the giant kid. That's a better cartoon than a lot of the other Lance cartoons of that era.
Put For the Love of Pizza, where Miss Meanie almost drowns her grandma. They aired that one on MeTV.
Wait, what?
Yeah. There's one called For the Love of Pizza that's sort of like it's the thing that always was consistent, even in those lamer days, was that Woody was always a big jerk and an asshole. Yeah. And it's just this one where he exploits the fact that the grandma likes him because he's seen Woody on TV. That he tells him that he tells her that the dam's breaking, so she runs up a telephone pole and he tries to pretend to be grandma. Miss Meanie learns, but he keeps heckling her, and then eventually tells grandma to go hide in the case. And then Miss Meanie thinks that Woody is in the case, and she throws it into a river. So Miss Meanie has to jump inside and go save her while Woody eats the pizza that Miss Meanie was going to bring to her grandma, which isn't even drawn like a pizza; it's drawn like an actual pie.
Now I must ask, what is the cartoon with the bat? The Woody Woodpecker cartoon with the bat? It's like the parody. It was in the Halloween special too.
Spookin' Annie.
Yeah, it was in the Halloween special. Yeah, but it's the bat where it was like the radio show, and he took the medicine to make him stronger.
Is that Under the Counter Spy?
Yes, that's the one.
That's on that Blu-ray.
I love that cartoon.
That's another good one. I think, I mean, the 60s Lance is pretty bad, but there's Sid Marcus, and Sid Marcus did actually surprisingly
But that's not from the 60s. That's from the 50s, isn't it?
Well, Sid Marcus did cartoons in the 60s, but yeah, Under the Counter Spy is a 53-54 entry.
Yeah. Mark, did you see that that Todd Fetterman found and in the Animation Art Hall of Fakes found fake Barry family art?
You know what I think? You want to know why I think they made so many of those? They made almost 30 of them.
Wait, they made 30 of them?
They made like 30 of them. I think they made them because they were going to go use them for TV. It was originally going to be a TV show. But that was when they were going to have a goose that was Charlie Bear's foil, and that those cartoons are actually okay.
No, they're not. They're all bad.
Well, I mean those
cartoons are probably the worst cartoons ever made.
I agree that most of them are terrible, but the very early ones where they have nice goose.
Well, you're being kind. You're being very kind.
If I showed you the one with the goose, I think you'd actually agree because they're actually a little stupid, but
no, I know which ones you're talking about. Like the one with the goose where he's like, wait, everyone involves the goose, or it involves Charlie running away from his mother-in-law, Charlie's wife beating him.
Yeah, they gave Gracie Lance a lot of misogynist wives to play.
I like that.
But I think they made those with the intention of using them for a TV package. In 1986,
who are these cartoons for? What character? What kid is watching this? Like, oh yeah,
mother-in-law jokes. The very funny thing.
I love
there was a Very Family TV show offered in 1987. Yes, and it was a secondary package of the lamer Lance cartoons, and USA was airing the good package.
That's what MeTV should air, the lamer Lance cartoons. Call it.
But you know what's funny though? I've never seen that package. I don't even think that many people bought it. but I bet they had to do new opening animation to sell the Barry Family show,
Probably.
which I would love to see.
You know the story about Lance in the for when he won his Oscar?
No, I have not.
Lance had to supervise the animation for Woody Woodpecker presenting his Oscar.
Oh yeah, I think Virgil Ross animated that, who was at Lance in the final days, and he was also there in the 30s. So it was. I mean, I think Lance's secretary basically had to tell anyone else who wanted a job there, like Mark Halser, that they'd have to wait for the men to die. And you know what that means? We would have had Paul J. Smith cartoons until 1980. And he was already legally blind by 1967. His daughter was doing everything for him.
Wow.
That's the craziest part about Paul J. Smith. By like the last 6 years of him directing cartoons, he'd gone legally blind, and everything had to be done by his daughter.
Wow. I never knew that.
I never knew most of the stuff. I never knew most of the stuff said today.
All right. Switching gears a little bit. Okay.
Wait, hold on. I want to show one thing.
Oh, more
Where is that? There we go, right here. There we go, right here. Fake Barry Family art right here.
Fake Barry Family.
All right, let's see.
It looks like musky.
I can't. If you can send me that image, I wonder if that could have been made for that Barry Family show, because they would have had to have done new animation for the opening.
It might be.
So here, send it to me.
It doesn't look that bad, actually, considering.
Well, I can prove that does this for a living, so. Well, I'll send it to you, Strum.
Okay.
Yeah, if you send it to me, if I can prove that it's not directly ripped from a cartoon, I'll see.
Yeah, here. Well, here's another one from the same seller. This is why he thinks this. Like, look at this.
Okay. So yeah, that is a fake.
Yeah.
All right. So it might be the case, but I think it's just crazy that they sold all of the Lamer Lance cartoons under Barry Family. Like, I mean, I always think of those like really dull music tracks that those later Lances have with the really bad trombone. As if it's being played out of the guy's limpy penis, which I think describes all the old men making those cartoons.
Limpy penis. It's a new Lance character.
Well, he did animate on Ever Ready Hoard and Buried Treasure, so it wouldn't be out of line.
All right, I'm switching gears at that point after Limpy Penis. Okay. So this came out on Blu-ray. We've talked about it before. People have talked about it. What's the status of Man Called Flintstone?
I don't know.
Man Called Flintstone's already been released.
I think they're going to do it.
Not on
Blu-ray.
I think
they've already done it. Yeah, they did. I have it right on my shelf. They released it on the Flintstones Blu-ray collection.
On that one. Oh,
the box set. Yeah.
So they didn't see on this. They put the Columbia titles back on here.
No, they didn't.
No, they did on that. They did on.
They did?
No, they did on this. Yes, they did put the Columbia title back on this.
Not on the Flintstones one. No.
Yeah, because I was hoping they would.
It is so it's a
just
bonus
for that.
So it's a bonus feature, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's out of the. I don't think it could be out of the question for it to eventually be a Warner Archive release. But I think that's why they didn't do it immediately, because it is a bonus feature. Yeah. But if I had to guess,
you know that Don Yelp had to do a whole post the other day about why Quick Draw McGraw will not be on Blu-ray.
Quick Draw McGraw could be on Blu-ray in a million years.
Yeah, here's the cartoon that I'd like on Blu-ray. I don't understand the purpose of putting the Superstars 10 on Blu-ray. Why not put Top Cat on Blu-ray?
I think that'll happen, but I wonder if the materials are in a bit of disarray at the moment.
Yeah,
because that's
but why the Superstars 10? Who is this for?
Okay, so Feldstein explained that they didn't have enough to do like a whole month. They still were just preparing. They didn't have a good sense of variety for February, so they just decided to go put those out. Is what I've heard.
Oh, okay. They just need a
scapegoat. So I think that Top Cat will happen, but I think it's just taken more because those early HB shows do have a bit of disarray with the masters.
I mean, I get why they don't put Yogi Bear out. I get why they don't put all the
Huckleberry Hounds out.
But Top Cat seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah. Actually, they have one Yogi Bear show episode as a bonus on here.
They did the Yogi Bears in HD. It's on HBO Max.
Yogi's birthday party. Anyway,
I'd love for them to put out like all the HD Yogi Bears, because they have every HD Yogi Bear cartoon in HD restored. But I understand that they probably wouldn't do that also because I can just see the shitstorm they would get for doing that. Because the minute they do that, someone says, "You didn't put Huckleberry Hound out. Go to hell, you bastards," or something
I
like
don't think
that.
that's. I don't. I think they might do the
They would,
Yogi
they
Bear
would,
show
people would throw a
eventually.
shitstorm and probably burn up the Warner Brothers lot.
But yeah, I think they will eventually do Top Cat and the Yogi Bear show, and then I think eventually they may clear rights to do Quick Draw. I know that
I don't
Felsina is
think they
trying to
will.
clear up more mountains, and he's trying to do a lot more.
Well, isn't it more on Quick Draw? Isn't it more besides the music rights and everything? Isn't it more
Yeah,
because of
but
the
you know what I don't understand
guns?
about the music
Guns?
rights?
No, that wouldn't.
No,
That's not an issue. But I can tell
Okay.
you that I
Bubba
can't
Louie,
remember his last name. Earl
Earl
looked
Kress.
Earl Kress looked into the Quick Draw Masters, and they were the most disorganized out of any of the HB shows. He couldn't even find some of
Earl,
those episodes complete in color.
Mark, do you have Earl's HB set? Do you have Earl's
Um,
HB
yeah, I do.
music
Yeah.
CDs?
I
You
didn't
know
I
who
thought you were talking about
you know
DVD. Okay.
yeah, but you know where I got mine?
Hmm.
From Earl Kress's wife. I have Earl's copy.
Oh, okay.
That's very sweet of her. I appreciate that she
Oh,
really.
everyone who wanted one, she had 3 boxes of them. I'm sure she has more. She could, if you asked her,
Well,
she
I
might have
have
one
one
for you.
because I bought it when it
No,
came
I was talking
out.
about him. I was
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
All
him.
right, I might
Yeah.
have to look into that, even though the HB stuff isn't my favorite. But I appreciate again that Earl's wife is very devoted to her late husband's
Yeah.
legacy and still helping researchers. Like I know she's helped Don Yelp with some of his
Oh yeah,
posts.
no, yeah. She gave all of Earl's files went to Don, all of them.
That was I think that was the right thing to do.
I
Yeah.
agree
Hmm.
because
I mean,
I
you know
guess
what
when
the big
Earl was
problem is?
alive, I
I
guess when
think this
Earl
is a
was
little off
alive,
topic, but
I guess when
we,
Earl was alive, the CIFA Hollywood Archives was still around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You'll understand, Mark.
Yeah.
Mark. I will discuss the air codes with you later.
Yeah. Well, I know what you're talking about because I met Mr. Kress many times. I do miss him.
Oh yeah,
So anyway.
I,
Oh,
I I agree with one thing Mark Halsler said is that the or someone else is that the only reason to really read those Looney Tunes comic books was for Dave Alvarez's art and Earl Kress's writing, and half of that's gone now. And
yeah.
Dave only contributes semi regularly. Like I
no,
know
he
he's
doesn't.
doing one for
He
one of the
left.
new
He left
ones.
entirely. He left entirely years ago.
He's doing one small thing for them in a recent one, but yeah, he returns every now and then for like one small thing, but that's it.
Yeah.
But
There's
you know
no
what? You know
reason
what
to
I hate
read
about those
those.
comic books? You know what I hate about those comic books? Is I grew up with those comic books.
Some
Mark Strum, I've probably sent you 18 different, not even 18. I probably spend you 55 different photos with the same comic book rack I have on my shelf because I'm really proud of it.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love my comic book rack. And there's 3 different rows with those comic books. Problem with those comic books I have is is I stopped buying them in about 2015 because after a while it was just publicizing the other DC stuff that I didn't care about,
Even
and it was
then,
all
even in the news
reprints.
stories, they're mostly just using
You know,
traced
and you know what's
versions.
sad? You know what's sad? Now they're doing those in the superhero comics too. And I found out, you know what I found out, by the way, Mark?
Yeah.
You know that there's a certificate of authenticity with comic books now?
Yeah. Yeah. I
There
knew that.
is? You knew
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing?
It's all just marketing stuff. It's a lost leader thing. It's all for variant covers. That nobody cares about stories anymore. I mean, the only reason to get I subscribe to Looney Tunes, and the only reason I do is just to keep up with it. Even though
I
it's mainly reprint, I like it that it's on glossy paper instead of newsprint like it was originally. But I think they've reprinted every story since at this point. You know, it's kind of
I subscribe to 4 magazines: Abbott and Costello Quarterly, Laurel and Hardy magazine, Hogan's Alley, and Three Stooges Journal, and the Jack
I
Benny
don't
Time.
get
There's
any
5.
magazines at this point.
I got way too many magazines. I don't subscribe to all of them. You don't get Nostalgia Digest, Camden? That seems like something you'd get, but
No,
anyway. Okay.
no. Nostalgia, I think, is a disease. I
Well,
think
that
the word
doesn't mean
nostalgia is a
anything. I mean,
disease.
they could call it Leprosy Digest if it had something interesting. I'm just going by.
Leprosy is probably healthier than nostalgia.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not talking about the title. It's subjects you like. I
Hey,
mean, it's
Camden, do
like,
you have leprosy?
yeah,
No,
okay.
but
Well, considering you're nostalgic for cartoons, and if you had leprosy, you'd be the sickest man alive.
All right. Well, I think we touched on this at the beginning. So Is
Oh,
Disney
yeah.
doing more of these? I forgot what we
I
said.
I
don't.
don't
I think
know.
those were just done
Again,
for
the
Disney
idea of
100.
spending $2 for a cartoon just doesn't
I'm not talking
mudge
about
me.
prices and everything. You're paying whatever you paid for Flip the Frog
I
that I already have. Anyway.
Okay, so I don't. I think they just did those for Disney 100. I don't think they're going to do a volume 3.
Okay.
But I do think that they will explore more of the features going forward for 4K and Blu-ray, which would be nice because that would be new masters. And they look very damn good. Like they've been doing new stuff that look damn good. They did a bunch
Strum,
of
we haven't even
different
discussed
stuff.
our thoughts on the Flip the Card cartoons. We talked about we like the step, but we didn't talk about our thoughts on the cartoons. Remember when we
Yeah.
discussed this?
Yeah,
They're okay.
sell me on this. Even though
Now
I
we're
will
not going
buy
to
it
sell you about
eventually.
Flip the Frog because
Yeah.
both of us have an opinion of Flip the Frog. And I think that right now, I think there's a hype for Flip the Frog, but I don't think that they're as great as people are currently saying they are.
Okay, I'll give my thoughts on that in a moment, but I think that buying them for the bonuses and the devotion of love that went into it makes it completely worth it.
Bonuses
Especially
are a
you get
selling
the
point.
here. I have
Bonuses
it's
are a
right
selling
here.
point. I will give it that, and
I
that's
do
why it's
not have it right
Mark,
next to me, but I
Mark,
have. Oh,
there's
there it
about
is.
1,000
This
different
is in
rare.
color in it. This is in color in it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
The Flippy Frog
Mark,
annual is in it, and it looks damn
Hey,
nice.
like I said, I didn't say I wasn't buying it. It's just not at the
I have
top
to
of my
say,
list.
there's some not language in that annual that startled the crap out of me.
Yeah, this is. I think it has a bit more than what may have been in there. There may have been like one or two that weren't in there, but I think it was complete.
There are some racial slurs in the annual that startled
Oh
the crap out of me
boy,
because I was not expecting it.
you
I
sold
was
me.
not expecting it at all.
I've also seen similar in Mickey Mouse annuals.
I've seen the similars in Mickey Mouse annuals, and
Oh boy!
yeah, words that if we repeat right now, we're all going to like get fired.
Nobody's censoring me, but it doesn't look good. Anyway,
I think in terms of the cartoons themselves, is that right after the whole music novelty idea of it dies out, they feel very substandard.
Yeah.
Grim
Yeah.
Knapwick does a lot of interesting artwork on them, and there's a lot of really spicy gags, but there isn't anything else. Like you could get those spicy gags in other cartoons, like at Van Buren, which are a bit crappier, but they feel like so crappy that it's more amusing. Or you can get sort of the same feeling at other studios.
I
So it
think that the
really,
flip cartoons that there are some that are better than others. I like the cartoon what is the cartoon Room Runners?
yeah, Room Runners is the very exceptional one. So is Funny Face, which has good story.
Funny Face, Room Runners. I like the one Flying Fist is another one I really like.
I like Phony Express.
Phony Express.
I tend to like the later ones of Memory Serves.
I like
where
Soda
he
Squirt a
looks
lot.
looks less like a frog and more like a person. Yeah.
I like
they
the
were gonna
middle
make him a
ones where he
person.
looks less like a frog, but the gags are more risque.
Yeah. The first Woolly Whopper design was going to be a humanized Flip.
Yeah, that is weird. Those designs are almost disturbing.
At least Flip would have looked normal with everyone else if they did that.
All right. Just let's just say that we're time travelers and we accidentally turned a chair. We come back to the future and there was a human Flip the Frog. I'm all Ray Bradburying right now, but so what the hell kind of idea is a human Flip the Frog? Just make another character. Those are the
that's why they
weirdest
did Willy
drawings
Whopper.
I've ever seen in my life.
I'll tell you what is that that MGM was making Flip more human and human. I think they wanted something that was like Mickey but not Mickey, which is again why they gave
every cartoon character is human to an extent. I mean, like Mickey Mouse is a 6 foot tall rodent, but somehow he's just also basically a human being.
Kamden, even if Mickey is a humanized rodent, he is not taller than you. Calm down. You're gonna have nightmares of a taller Mickey Mouse now. He's probably 5'5".
That's true. I saw Fantasia. Stokowski had to lean over.
He's
to
probably
shake
like
his
4'11". You know what? He's probably 4'3".
3 feet
He's probably
tall.
as tall as Beetlejuice.
3 feet tall.
He's probably as tall as the Howard Stern Beetlejuice.
Okay. All right. Both Strum and Kamden, and don't speak at the same time if you can help it. Other than Flip the Frog, because you've already told me that, what are the best Thunderbean Blu-rays to get right now? Or coming soon?
Kamden.
Coming soon. Okay.
For me, I start.
Yeah.
Right now by Mid-Century Modern Volumes 1 and 2.
Okay.
Stop motion Marvels. If you're into that kind of thing, like early Kinect films.
Mhm.
And I would say Coltoons. Those audio, but you
Coltoons is a
probably already have
pre-order.
Coltoons. You probably already have the DVDs of those,
Well, I
don't
have
you?
it on DVD, but I mean,
Yeah,
a
you
reason
have the
to
DVD.
upgrade it to Blu-ray. I
Yeah,
have all
upgrade it to
3 of
Blu-ray.
those. Yeah.
Upgrade it
Okay.
to Blu-ray. I don't know if the content's any different, but upgrade it to Blu-ray for sure. But
Okay.
yeah, that's what I would suggest.
And
Strum?
Strum, yeah.
I would suggest is that comic is that yeah. Mid-Century Modern Volume 3 is about to come out. That's going to be a good one.
Mhm.
Mid-Century Modern Volume 2, I believe, is out of print, but should be in print back soon. Mid-Century Volume 1 is in print. You can get that.
Mhm.
I would also implore to go get Willy Whopper, since that is a good companion with Flip the Frog.
Okay.
And in terms of
Mark, you probably already have
pre-orders,
Willy Whopper, do you?
I'm not sure. I know I have the Flip the Frog DVD, but I'm not
Willy
sure.
is it in
Whopper
any of
was an
those boxes
early
behind
Blu-ray
you?
for them.
I don't have the Willy Whopper Blu-ray, no.
All right.
So
All
I
right.
know what it looks like.
I would,
Yeah.
in terms of pre-orders, I would recommend Lou Bunnin, because those are interesting films, and I would recommend the
Okay.
Coltoons
I
one
haven't
because that's going
pre-ordered
to be a lot of fun.
Lou Bunnin either.
Lou
I
Bunnin was
haven't
never a
pre-ordered Lou.
DVD.
I haven't pre-ordered Lou Bunnin because I'm gonna wait until it actually gets closer and closer. Like I always look at that schedule, and once you can see it's like a month ahead of time, then I'll pre-order something. Because I don't want to pre-order something so late and just spend all the
Yeah, I
money so
get it.
quickly.
I know that Steve is trying to push for a monthly schedule. Last month was
Well,
Tom and Jerry. This month's going to be Mid-Century Modern,
mhm.
and he wants next month to be Rainbow Parade's Volume 2. And I
What about
honestly
Betty
don't.
Boop?
I don't know. Betty Boop, I think it's like a half special set, half official. I don't know where that
Yeah,
is.
Mark. Do you have the Betty Boop collections, the Blu-rays?
I only have the olive ones. I don't have the
I mean,
Yeah.
Steve put out one with
Buy if you
the
wanna if you buy the Betty Boop, other Betty Boops, all of those are just the other Betty Boops not on Blu-ray.
right. I know that. I just have it's on my list.
I think those are also good ones. Like the one that Steve already has out, it has the formerly lost Honest Love and True, which is pretty nice to see.
Yeah.
Which one? Strum, how do you know which one is honest, love, and true? That's an honest question.
Because it's the best of the melodramas. It's the best of the melodramas. It has Jack
Mark,
Mercer. It doesn't have
you and I
Fearless
are
Fred.
looking at the same look.
It just I also recently, I'll show it on camera.
Okay.
This is a 1950s NTA catalog. UMM MTA, the guys
Ooh.
who bought the Paramount shorts. I have read through this, and it's from the birth of the library. They were selling all of the Betty Boops except the ones that they did not have, and Honest Love and True was not one of them. So it's
I got
coming up.
another Blu-ray set that's coming out, I think. What about the Mr. Bug Goes to Town thing?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Kino. That
I
I
don't
think
know. Isn't Greg doing some kind of cartoon commercial thing for Kino, Mark?
I don't know what I haven't talked to Greg Ford in a while. I need to give him a call. The last time I
I
talked to him was when we did the last commentaries, and that was geez,
Oh,
2019, I
that's
think.
another
Yeah.
Mark, that's another set you like. If you're really into animated commercials, I'm sure you already have the first volume of cartoon commercials by sending
Yeah.
me the DVD. There's
Yeah.
a sequel out. It's like $13.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm going through my thing again, but yeah, they do not list.
That's the good thing about Thunderbeat sets, Mark. Just about everything is $15.
Yeah.
Also,
The one
I'll
exception
say
is
this
Flip.
is that the first Stone Age cartoon was being listed, but it's turned out lost. But I'm
Those
actually
cartoons are
glad
bad.
But here's the thing: this lost one sounds like the worst one. Take a guess at what could be worse than any of the other ones.
I don't remember any of them.
Stone
That's
Age
the bad
cartoon
part.
was about office work in the Stone Age.
God. I have to say, you know what the worst cartoon series is? I hate Gabby. I hate
I think
Well,
Gabby.
you know
wait.
what
Okay.
the
Wait.
Gabbies are a bit. The Gabbies they have a terrible character, but they have better production values than those black and white
All right.
Stone.
All right. Which is worse, Gabby or the Berry Family?
Oh, Berry Family by far. I mean,
Cheaper.
Gabby. At least, you know, at least
Okay. We
you
got to
can.
figure out what the worst series of all.
Gabby,
Okay.
you only have to wish for the death of one character. The Berry Family, you got to wish for the death of all of them.
Okay. Berry Family and Molly Moo Cow.
Oh, Molly Moo Cow, because Molly Moo Cow's got great animation.
Worse than
to
Berry
it.
Family?
Molly Moo
Okay.
Oh, by far.
Molly Moo Cow got drunk in her
No, Molly
cartoon.
Moo Cow is better than Berry Family by far, better than
okay.
Gabby.
Oh, okay. All right.
So in terms of the
There's
very
only a
worst,
few of those.
There's
to
nothing
suffer
worse than the
through.
Berry Family. Is the Berry Family the worst series?
No, Berry Family is not the
Theatrical.
worst.
We'll
Okay,
leave it at theatrical.
I'm gonna go give.
Theatrical, yes.
There's a few that I could list. One I think would be Buddy. One would be Crazy Cat after
Buddy's
1935. The
Mhm.
other
Alright.
would be Casper. The other would be 50s Popeye. And then I would say probably
Really? Wow, I like some 50s Popeye.
There's a
50
few that
Popeyes
were-
are bad, Mark. You know they're bad. You just don't want to admit they're
there's a
bad.
few that are there were a few
No,
that
they're
were-
bad like in they're bad.
Mark,
So-
Mark, you know they're awful. You just grew up with them.
Hey, you're talking to somebody who likes the 60s
All right.
King Features one.
All right, so
I
I
like the
listed-
60s team feature ones too.
Okay.
I just don't like the 50s Popeye ones.
I would also say the White Oswald cartoons, and then I would say around the board, everyone starts stucking around 1959.
Everyone starts stucking.
Sucking.
It's
a little bit of a
Normal still exists.
What about Lupe
Can't
de
say everyone starts
What about
sucking when
Lupe de Loop?
Loopy de Loop is awful.
If you watch Loopy the Loop all the time, you don't have to deny it.
I have seen the whole series front to back. I will fully admit I have the DVD. I watched the whole series from start to finish.
I have,
And I have to say they're not
just
good.
once, but
I had to vomit thinking of doing that. Ugh. Even I wouldn't dare to buy that.
What?
I bought it.
Loop de Loop? Loopy de Loop?
Yes.
Loopy de Loop.
Loopy de Loop is better than Crazy Legs Crane, all right?
Oh, by far.
Okay, here we go. Okay,
comparing-
which is worse, Crazy Legs Crane or Berry Family?
We're comparing shit to diarrhea.
Oh man. Well, I would say Berry Family is worse only because I don't get to hear Jerry Beck complaining about them.
Not yet. They've redone those. They could put those out on Blu-ray and Jerry Beck could do commentaries on those.
If Jerry manages to watch this, Jerry, I want you to do a world's worst cartoon show and put an episode of Berry Family, an episode of
The world's worst cartoon
Crazy
show.
Legs Crane. You got to pick one of all these
if we're
bad
gonna pick
ones.
the worst cartoon series ever, there's
Yeah.
anything by Cambria Studios. It's bad.
Three Stooges. Oh,
No, beside the Three Stooges, I like those Three Stooges cartoons. I have one of our Strum, you
Jerry
and I, one
always
of our mutual friends, Alice Savage. Alice
Yeah.
Savage and I frequently talk about how one of our personal guilty pleasures is the Three Stooges cartoons. We just
I love
them.
Alice. Alice is the friend who watched the Hobo Hero while she was high.
Yeah. She and I both have this guilty pleasure of the Three Stooges cartoons. And I gotta say, I know it's a dirty word, but I like Curly and I like Curly Joe and I like Joe Besser. They're not Shemp or Curly, but I mean I don't hate them.
He was.
I don't hate him either.
Guy.
Actually,
you know what? He at least brought stability, and at least
I think that Curly Joe and Joe. I think Joe Besser got the bad rap because Joe Besser had his own style, and I think Joe Besser also got the bad rap because every short that it seems that he was in was a remake of another short.
Yeah, they use lots of recycled.
I mean, even if it was any other guy, it would have been remakes either way.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
Joe
Joe
Palma's
gets a bad rap.
Joe Palma's the worst third stooge. All right.
I think
Now we're
Curly Joe
talking.
also. I think Curly Joe DeRita also gets a bad rap. I don't think Curly Joe DeRita gets as bad of a rap. I don't think either of them get as bad of the rap as they used to.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone gets as bad of a rap as they used to. I think that
my feeling about Curly Joe. Okay, Curly Joe is the right man for the right time. I mean,
great. I absolutely agree.
If he was with the group in the 30s or 40s, he was sucked balls more than what they say in the 60s, because by the 60s they were old men. I mean, and they were acting old too, so they needed to kind of tone it down. It wasn't because of everybody saying, "Oh, the violence." No, they're just getting
that was
older and
stupid violence. You don't need to tone that down.
What? I think that was part of why they did the cartoons.
What helped on the Curly Joe ones? I will defend Curly Joe. I don't think he's the best stooge, but for what they did, I think Hercules and Around the World in a Days, those two movies, Around the World in a Days and Hercules, solid stories. the gags aren't the traditional, they're just, verbal or,
Right.
other types of gags. Some good special effects, actually, considering the
Yeah.
budget,
I love
and
I
Hercules.
think
they're
that Three
watchable.
Stooges movie they did like 10 years ago that I think gets a very bad rep is decent.
Which
I
one?
don't think I think it's horrible. I
Which
think
one?
it's absolutely horrible.
Which
I think it
one?
at least has the right spirit in term. I mean, it wouldn't. I don't think they would have done it better.
Are you talking
Oh,
about the
that.
are you talking
Oh,
about the
that
one
one.
where
The
you
one.
see Curly at his deathbed?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the one where you see Moe at his deathbed? Or Curly?
The problem with that the Farrelly Brothers Three Stooges is that they're all too tall, and it's really a bad move when Larry David is the funniest person in the movie. He was the
Well, we
nun.
just
He
saw
was.
Larry David was just the funniest person in the
There
movie
you
called
go.
The Today Show.
Actually, I was
In the
rooting him
Today
on.
Show, you have no competition.
Today Show. I mean, again, he should have finished the job.
Let's set him on fire.
Absolutely.
Have
It
you
would
ever
have been
seen that?
funnier.
On YouTube? Go Tickle Me Elmo on Fire. It's the funniest shit you'll ever see. So anyway, what else can we talk about?
Like think about it this way.
We're talking about terrible cartoons. I think we've talked enough.
I know, that's why I said, what else can we talk about? Not terrible. Okay. Okay, we mentioned
I got one for you.
mhm.
For you, Strum, and you, Mark. Would you guys rather watch the worst Hanna-Barbera cartoon imaginable? Think of a picture of the worst 1980s Dragon Slayer level Hanna-Barbera cartoon or Clutch Cargo.
Clutch
Clutch
Cargo.
Cargo.
In fact, one day,
Clutch Cargo bothers me.
you know,
It bugs me to watch it. It makes
it
me
did me
weird.
too. When I was a kid, it gave me nightmares.
I would have like here's the only cartoon that I ever saw that gave me nightmares as a kid. You know what it is? John Christopherlucci's Jetsons cartoon. You know what gave me nightmares about the Jetsons cartoon? It was not that they replaced Elroy and somehow he just disappears. We don't know what happened to him. Was he killed? What was that? It was that scene where George just slaps him, where blood's going out of his nose.
Yeah.
That scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind of funny. I when Ren and Stimpy came on the air, I actually was a hugest fan of that. And then nowadays, and it has honestly little or nothing to do with what came out about Christopher Lucy. It has more to do with, I think, just my own tastes. And
It's
as
so
I
sluggish.
and
I've
as I've
never been
gotten
able to like
older,
it.
I can't
You were
stand watching
talking to
it.
two people. You were talking to the only two people who just don't like Ren and Stimpy. Nothing to do with John K. We just don't like
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
You know they're bringing that show back.
Yeah.
I never found any of John Felucci's stuff, Chris Felucci's stuff good.
And
I actually, you know the Joe Barbera story about Chris Felucci? Barbera one time literally said about Chris Felucci, I think in a magazine, he's like, it's like watching your children die.
He said that about Boo Boo Runs Wild. Watching
yeah.
no, he said it's like watching your children get stolen from you and molested.
No.
Which is saying he
no,
knows
I
a lot
thought it was
about
like
considering his time at Hanna-Barbera.
it's like watching your children get set on fire to death. Something like that.
I think it was the molested part, but he know a lot about that from his own time.
Yeah. You know
what?
He would. You know what kind of soured me on Ren and Stimpy? Strangely enough, it wasn't Chris Felucci himself. It was Tad's book.
Tad's?
Komorowski's book.
Little Monkeys.
Yeah, it's like, and it's nothing to do. Well, it might have something to do with them, but it's like
all the terrible work stories. Every episode has a different story behind it.
It just it just made me. It made me kind of realize, like, I bought it because I love the show. It's great, blah, 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 blah. And then reading through it, I go, what an awful ordeal putting that show together. It doesn't seem like it was really very fun for the people. And this is, like I said, before any of the real shit came out. And it's like,
right. And here's the deal
and
about
I was
Thad,
like, why do I like this? And then, the things that John K. put out afterwards, like the adult version of it, and then Ripping Friends and all the other things that he did, it's like, it was all just disgusting. And I go, is it just me getting older and more sensitive, or is it just
I think
I'm tired of it?
You know what's crazy though? They're bringing back Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, but you know what's weird though? Also,
it looks lifeless. It looks absolutely lifeless. And you know what? I think it's because it doesn't have that mental pizzazz that created the original show. Like I
can't say any of this because I'm not an expert about this kind of thing, but I think that Thad's book might have opened the doors for people to feel more comfortable about admitting what Chris Belushi did later.
Maybe.
Because
I certainly think that's part of the case.
Yeah.
I think that there are parts of Thad's book that as a whole, I think that did a lot of good. Because there's horror stories, both production wise and about Chris Belushi, that I don't know would have been shared if it hadn't been for that.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of stuff.
John K kept making fun of that, and he drew these ridiculously terrible caricatures of him without barely even knowing what he.
Oh, you know, if you want to hear something funny, you want to see something funny, look up. You go to Thad's Facebook page and just search up Eddie Fitzgerald's comments about his book. They're the most. I think Fitzgerald's creepier than John K.
He did at least one good cartoon. He did the Tales of War and Paranoia that I thought was pretty decent. The one decent.
You know what turned me off more about John K. Though it was before I even heard about Ren and Stimpy. It was like watching those Looney Tunes commentaries, and I'm like, this guy's just obnoxious.
Oh yeah,
let Bill Melendez talk.
I used to imitate all the different people doing commentaries on the gold collections. You probably never heard me do this, and it's been years. So it's been years, so I can't remember all of them. But I said, "Here's John Christopher Lucy." Ooh, oh my God! Look at that! Oh, for 7 minutes, and it's like, so, and everybody had their own style. Hi, this is Michael Berrier, and here's a.
I like Michael Berrier's commentaries a lot.
I like it, but they all have their own style. And then, hi, this is Jerry Beck, and we're gonna be watching blah blah blah. I have to listen to all the other. Oh, this is Greg Ford, and I don't. I'm gonna be.
Now do Will Friedwald.
I'm gonna do have an interview with Friz Freeling. And sorry, Greg, I have to do this interview with Friz Freeling. And here's what Friz had to say about this cartoon.
Now do Milk Gray, and now do Will Friedwald.
I don't remember. See, that's the thing. I have to listen to him again. I haven't done it in a while, because when did those golden collections come out? 20 years ago, more. It's like it's a long time ago. I was a youngster.
2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was an infant. Strum wasn't even born.
I was, I was your age when that came out. That shit came
out. I'm trying to think.
My age. Oh. Aren't you like 57?
I'm 57. So, yeah, if they came out 21 years ago, yeah, it was.
You would have been 37.
36. Okay.
36. Yeah, that's 10 years older than me.
Okay, but getting close. So anyway, what came out when I was in? How old are you, Kamden? Come on.
I'm 23.
23. Okay. What? 1990. What came out? Well, I know. Well, that's when Ren and Stimpy came out, and The Simpsons and all that stuff. So all that stuff, I was like gaga for all, because it was all coming out at once, and I said, "Wow, this is a real renaissance." This is the stuff that Milton Knight says. It wasn't a golden age. And it's like,
I love Milton Knight a lot.
The problem is that there was like 20 years of shit. I mean, really, from 70 to 90. There's like 20 years of shit with some small bright points here and there. But, it's like...
Strum! Yeah. Strum, really? I'm sorry, Mark, but Strum texted me something that was so funny.
What?
Strum, show that on camera, please.
I sent tonight on Jeopardy. This figure in the animation industry is responsible for more unforgivable acts than all notable figures combined.
It's not me, is it?
Who is John K?
But you know what's weird though about John K though? It was also got weirder though when you re-listen to it and you have Eddie Fitzgerald. Eddie Fitzgerald and John K is, I remember Milton Knight and I were talking about this about the commentaries and about about Eddie Fitzgerald just keeps talking about Olive's feet the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like it's Eddie Fitzgerald's foot fetish hour the whole time, and
all these weird things like that. So, but I still listen to all of them. It's just as funny. Everyone had
give
their
me
stuff.
Dairy Family Trivia for $400.
And I'll admit, on my own commentaries, I have my own style because I had to write them and produce them. These are the ones for the Kino Lorber. So, I did them kind of in a similar format, but I did that on purpose just to get them out of the way. It's like, if I'm just sitting there kind of going, it's not going to work.
The commentary I like the best from you. You know what the commentary I like the best from you? You learn a lot from. is I like the one you did for like the Star, whatever the Space Pink Panther one is.
Oh, Star Pink? Was it
Yeah,
Star Pink? I might even
where
have
you
it
just
right
talked
here.
about the Patty Freeling in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a big Star Wars buff, so I knew none of this. So that was
Yeah.
really informative.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the unfortunately you have to get the original unremastered unepisode 4 Star Wars, that had the original special effects, because they've all been remastered and made the special editions and everything's A New Hope and everything. But if you go back
Which
to the
pissed, which is why the
yeah,
documentary The People versus George Lucas came out, isn't it?
I don't know, but I mean that's you know it's just frustrating to me as a first generation fan for Star Wars that they can't, at least as a bonus feature, put the original version of Star Wars on somewhere on Blu-ray,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like everything else. It's like, in fact, I've been talking about this to death, this Superman collection, just because I finally got it. This is a Blu-ray collection that has all of them. What I liked about it is it has two versions of Superman the movie and two versions of Superman 2. Did it need it all? Well, it's up to debate, but I liked it that it had all the different versions on it. And I was going to say this because we were talking earlier about these Superman cartoons. Where'd my DVD Blu-ray go?
That Blu-ray isn't that good. I would have. I
Well,
wish Archive did it.
well,
This is the Mark. What did I
this
tell
is
you?
what I said
What did I
before
tell you
you
before
came
you
on
get
the
on
air.
camera?
Okay, so I like this. Okay, if you don't like this, they're all on Blu-ray on here with scratches and grain and all the
I
flecks and
understand.
everything. So it's like
I
I
think. I
like
think
Constructive,
this
Mark
because it looks
Strum. I
nice and
told that Mark
polished.
that you would that you. I told Mark that you would basically that he would basically be attacked by you for liking that Superman set.
No,
Okay,
I
so
actually
here
do
I'll say
recommend it.
this. I'll say
So
this is
yeah.
that it also was problematic because it was also pricey,
No,
like
yeah,
$30.
No, I got mine cheap.
$30. I bought mine. I bought mine for about $13 on eBay
Yeah, I
from
got
a
mine for
When it
like
from
was
a
that
first being
sale.
price.
sold, it was like 30 goddamn
Well, I
Yeah,
dollars.
didn't.
yeah,
That's
it was like
yeah.
$35 when it came
No,
out.
I got it after every badmouthed it, and it came down in
Okay, I
price.
understand that.
Yeah, I only bought mine about two
Oh, you
months
know what?
ago during a blow it out of here on eBay sale for like $13.
I know what happened. This one actually made it into the store because it's not an archive. So
Oh yeah.
it was at Barnes and Noble. They had it on sale, and I said, how bad could it be? I love these cartoons, because everybody's bad mouthing it, and I go, I love this, and it has a new documentary.
You know what I like?
Actually, the creepiest thing is what Camden pointed out is that Superman's eyes
Oh,
look kind
yeah.
of weird. And
Yeah.
it's like,
The packaging is bad. And
yeah,
I have to say that the
That's
Woody
with almost
Woodpecker
every. That's with
packaging,
all the non-Popeyes,
yeah.
yeah,
except for the
I have
Popeyes
to
and two of
say,
the Averys. They all have really bad packaging.
Yeah.
you know what I
I'll
think is
do
the
it for
worst packaging
free.
of all
Even
sets though?
Camden, you could design a better package. You could take stock images. You can't draw. You could take stock images and make it look a
Yeah.
little better.
Actually, I probably had the
You know what I think is bad? You know what I think is bad? Look at the back of that Woody Woodpecker set, Mark. Show us the back of that Woody Woodpecker set. Look how shitty the shows is. Why would you choose that for your back of your package? You're
well, I
just
don't
choosing
like it
stock
that
art.
it
Look
says
at those aren't even stocks from the
uh,
films. Those are just
I hate
random
it that
pictures
it
that they
says
have.
25 classic, and it just has them like in a big bunch here. You don't even know what the titles are unless you're
But look at the
knowledgeable about
pictures.
this
Look at
stuff.
the pictures of them thing,
Oh
Mark.
yeah,
Those
the
aren't even
pictures are shitty.
cartoons.
Yeah.
Those aren't
Yeah.
even actual cartoons. Those are just stock photos of Woody
I
Woodpecker.
Hey, it's that Berry family picture that you should. Anyway, um, you want to know here's the worst Blu-ray ever released of cartoons.
Mark, you were going to tell me that your
Wait,
problem
I
with the Beanie
guess.
and Cecil sets.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. Okay. We'll end on this on Blu-rays then. This is the worst Blu-ray ever put out. I don't know why I still haven't. I should buy the Steve Stanfield upgrade. This one.
Oh my god!
I thought you were going to show something.
Holy shit!
Yeah, this is the worst Blu-ray ever. So
I have to say,
yeah,
even more than the chopped up Toby the Pups.
yeah. The only reason I have it was like $2, and I wanted to see how bad it really was. It is that bad, so it's like, yeah,
Okay, it was $2. I get it.
yeah,
Yeah, if it's $2, I totally get it too.
yeah.
I would,
But
yeah. Steve's is a
and,
very nice package. It also has a bunch of bonuses.
yeah, so
You know what I would
I
like to
do
have
want to get it.
upgraded,
I do
Mark?
want
You
to
and I
get
were
it.
discussing this. I'd love
Yeah.
to have this upgraded. They have all
And
the other Ray Harryhausen stuff from Indicator upgraded.
mhm,
They keep putting out new Blu-ray sets, and I'm like, why don't you guys put out, because the Harryhausen Foundation did these awesome audio commentaries with like
yeah,
Ray and Caroline Monroe for Golden Voyage of Sinbad, right?
right.
And I'm like, why don't you guys put that stuff out? Why? But they don't do it. And like
Well, at least you have
Warner Brothers
that.
won't let them. They
That's-
have also this great commentary with Vanessa Harryhausen
yeah.
and Ray for Valley Guanji. Yet Warner Brothers, they keep telling him that you can have this commentary out. You can just, we'll give it to you. Warner Brothers doesn't want anything to do with them. I'm
Yeah.
like, why?
I don't know. Okay, Beanie and Cecil.
Yeah. What is your problem with that DVD set? It was like the
It's
first DVD set about cartoons ever
it's
made.
great, except it isn't complete.
Oh, well, yeah, well, no shit.
That's
No
like
shit, Sherlock.
that's like the Alvin Show Blu-ray. It's like it's
Oh
great, but it
God,
isn't
yeah.
complete. It's like
What is, by the way, Mark, isn't there a rumor about the Alvin show that I heard this, Mark, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I told Strum this the other day. Is, well, the rumor I heard was that Bagdasarian Jr. didn't want the complete Alvin show on Blu-ray because he didn't get any money off of it.
pretty much
Yes,
true. That's pretty much true. Yeah.
he did. He
What the heck
tested
is
it,
with the
let quite a few of them out, and it didn't sell that well.
Mark, what is the hell is with the Bagdasarian Jr. compared to Bagdasarian Sr.? Why is he considered such a jerk?
Well, a lot of people blame his wife. I don't know if I'm not going to go there, but the people do. So it's like
This is a good
Janice.
topic
Yeah.
for after.
But
Yeah.
here's the situation, and it's covered in my book. Um, Ross Senior, the original guy, um, did like a lot of people did back in the day. This is like 1968. I don't know if you're a Beach Boys fan at all, but the dad figured, oh, this surfing music craze, it's run its course, and they were starting to not have number one hits. So he sold the music publishing rights to their records, lock, stock, and barrel, out from under him in 1968. Well, Ross Bagdasarian, he wasn't ripping, other people off. He had the rights himself, but around that same time in 1968, rather than give them to his kids, but I think he actually did offer it and they were not interested at that time, sold everything lock, stock, and barrel to Liberty Records, which eventually went through changes of hands, capital EMI, and now is UME or whatever, and Universal Music. But so anything that has those original music tracks, all the royalties and everything don't go to the Bagdasarians. So there's not a monetary incentive for them to put it out. But the thing that's really odd about the Bagdasarians is they don't put out the 1980s Alvin and the Chipmunks series either, or Chipmunks Go to the Movies, or the only thing that's out currently, you can get the 4 feature films, and you can, I think, you can get piecemeal compilations of like 2 or 3 cartoons, but so they don't even treat their own things with any sort of respect, and all the albums are out of print, so I don't know their deal there either.
In
So
my
it's like,
opinion, the Alvin cartoons aren't even the best part about that show. It's always Clyde Crash Cup.
yeah, well, they'll never put out a separate Clyde Crash Cup set. That it just won't happen because it's the ownership thing. So, I mean, if you or I owned it, we would. We'd probably piecemeal it out. You market that any way you can.
This is
You
why
know,
I told Curtis Finley when I talked to him. I'm like, this is why I could never have your job, because I would make this whole company go broke within 10 minutes because I would just release everything, just spend all my money releasing all the Dick Tracy's, do all the rest of Beetle Bailey's, do all the
no,
rest
there's
of the
nothing
Archie
wrong with that.
Comics.
I would do that too. I mean, it's like I've always said, if I owned any one of these companies, I would be scanning the vaults. I always use this as an example. I'm not saying it's the best example, but if if I was a different studio that didn't have Marilyn Monroe, let's say, or John Wayne or something, but there was like a cameo in this film or a bit part in this film, whatever, it would be out in the most pristine thing with saying early appearance of Marilyn Monroe.
I would get
Yeah,
fired if I went to Viacom and
yeah,
asked them to go do Terry Tunes.
yeah. I mean, it's like if I,
Yeah,
the
I
way
would
they,
get fired
Okay, I
I
will
would get
talk about
fired.
more about that, but that's a situation that I think is best covered privately.
Well, I want
Yeah.
to say this about the Terry Tunes. When they put them out, the one time they did put them out, um, on the 12-inch, I don't know, did they ever come out on Laserdisc? They never came out on
They
No, they
they
Laserdisc.
did
came
a
out in
few bonus
CED, I
cartoons on
think.
the Bakshi series. They did a few
Okay.
Mighty Mouses.
Okay, but they never did a 12-inch laser disc because there's
They
that
made
other type
Laserdisc
of
copies, but I don't think they actually
okay,
issued
because
them.
they did do a couple collections on that laser disc one that you drive it in through the drawer, the
CED.
RCA Selective Vision.
CED.
Yeah, the CED one with the needle and everything. And I had those. I don't have them anymore. But
Well, yeah.
they
CEDs have all suffered from disc
you
rot
know,
by
it's
now, in
like, and I
fact.
got rid of them because I'm never going to play these, even if it has stuff that I can't get anywhere else. So I got rid of all of it. But my mom was the one who bought it, and even my dad said at the time, "This is the worst technology ever. It has a needle. Everything else has a laser." Anyway, so, um, but they put it out there, and then they put it out on the probably the cheapest VHS tapes you could possibly get. And I remember when those all came out, and I said, "Man, if they put this out in like in a quality VHS, I'd buy this collection." So I didn't buy any of those either. And then the technology went to DVD and nothing. And it's like,
All I have
well,
to say is,
if they're going by past sales and everything, well, you put it out wrong in every format so far. Why not do it right now? Yes, they did put out a few Mighty Mouses on the Ralph Bakshi Mighty Mouse collection, and that I apparently was like pulling teeth to get those out, strangely enough. But it seems like that they could do a collection at least as good as this for Terry Tunes. They don't have to put every
I
single one,
I
but
have to say one thing: the legacy of how we can find Terry Tunes is one name, Devin Baxter.
and explain.
And Charlie
I've heard
Jenkins.
his name, but
Oh,
yeah.
Charlie Jenkins. Thank you. Yes. The Terry Tunes Facebook page, a YouTube channel, which basically has every Terry Tune available.
Yeah.
Which, if you really want Terry Tune sets, just bootleg them all and put them
Oh,
all,
I know. I
all those,
know. I mean, that's
or
how
even just
much
buy
it,
Jerry Beck sets that he makes.
yeah. Well, I know. Yeah.
The
I
garage
could
can
say that
sales.
Junkins
Yeah.
knows a hell of a lot more about the guys who worked at Terry Tunes than anyone else, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm in a deep ode of debt to him because he's told me so much about those. Like,
I
Yeah.
want Charlie or Milton Knight or someone like that to write a Terry Tunes book that betters the one published
Yes.
by.
I've
And I'm
been asked to
trashing
do
that Terry Tunes book.
I've been asked to do
I'm
a Terry
trashing a
Tunes
Terry
book, and
Tunes
I'm not
book
going to.
published
There's
by
other things I
published
want
by
to
the
do.
school that employs me. By the way,
Okay, you both talked at the same time. I'm like, what?
You finish that just when
yeah,
you're mentioning.
I would say, I just trashed Terry Tunes book published by the school that employs me
Mm.
and that I
Oh,
go to.
is that blue one that has the little
The Indiana
columns?
University Press
Yeah.
published. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know
I
that's
don't.
where
I
that
like
came
the
from.
book. I hate the way it's laid out.
I hate the way it's laid out.
I'll
I don't
say
even
this.
like.
I'll say is that I've been asked to do a Terry Tunes book by a few friends,
Yeah.
but I would rather do a few other topics before I did that, and also because of the interest of other people.
Yeah.
I think Charlie Jenkins wants to do it, doesn't he?
He wants to do a general New York history.
Yeah, I'd love for him to do that. I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
Well, Strum, can you disclose this? You said I would rather do other things than this.
I said
Can
it
you?
earlier, I believe, is that
Yeah,
I'd
he
like to
already
do
said it. He already told
a
you.
book on the transition to sound and animation.
Oh yeah, you did say that. That's it. Okay. All right.
Currently I
Just
have not written a damn
okay.
thing other than some small notes on
Okay.
transitional marks and
Okay.
what would become standard in sound animation, but it is
What was that
mostly
thing Jerry Beck said?
it
What
is
was
at
that
a
thing Jerry
research
Beck told
phase.
me? By the way, Mark, I got a quick question for you. Mark, this is a question for only you, and only you, if anyone can answer. So, do you remember when Jerry's Looney Tunes Merry Melodies book came out
Early
with
90s. I don't have
Wilfred
it.
Bold?
The
With
original
Wilf,
version is like in the 80s, but the late 80s, and then I think it was
yeah, no,
1990.
the original version, the original
Yeah,
version.
late 80s, some
But do you remember?
87.
Did you buy it when it came out? Do you
No,
remember it?
no. I bought the paperback first. I got the hardback later.
I was wondering. Yeah, I have all three versions of it. I don't know why I don't need all three versions. Like I have two versions on my shelf in my dorm,
I only
in
have
my
two
apartment.
versions. Anyway.
But do you remember when Jerry and Will were going to write an MGM book of the same format? Because I was reading some old. Because I don't know if you've heard about Quack.info, and I think actually no, you've heard about it because you didn't you recently give them your Harveyville your Harveyville Fun Times
I
books
haven't
to
done it.
them?
I haven't done it yet. I want to. Yeah, I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, but but which my comics readers class loves that thing. I just helped my whole comic book readers class to take. But so I searched up random names. So I searched up Will Friedwald because I thought being screwed. And it
Yeah,
says Will Friedwald and Jerry Beck, and it repeatedly will talk about columns of the upcoming book, The MGM Cartoons by Jerry and Will.
yeah. Well, I
Do you
think.
remember any of that being in the works? Because I know there are
Well,
tons of books coming out, like your Sutherland book that never happened. There are tons of books about what Jerry Beck told
well,
me. 85% of books never happen.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think what had happened was after the Warner Brothers one was a success, it was their goal to do it for all the studios. But it's like uh I can't say Jerry and Will are not they're not enemies. They just don't work together like they did. It's
Well, no, well, they worked together a
the
lot more
time has
after that. They
passed, so
wrote,
it's like Jerry doesn't even write books anymore. So it's like I mean there's
Jerry and Will went straight to do two other projects with each other. They did the Looney Tunes CD sets
Oh
together, and
yeah,
then
I
they
mean,
did
I'm
the
not saying that that was their last project was that book. I'm just saying that it was just one of many things that they talked about and then never got done, and then they stopped working together. For whatever reasons. I don't think it was because they're bitter enemies. I think they just got different interests. I think Will went on into the music industry, and Jerry,
Mhm.
of course, stayed in animation, and
Well, yeah, Will. That's
they
another thing I need to buy. I need to buy those. That's another sets I need to buy. I need to buy
yeah. So
those Bob Hope
uh,
and
Hmm.
You know
and
that Greg Ford does a Bob Hope commentary on
yeah,
Road to Bali with Greg with
yeah,
Will.
yeah. I haven't heard it, but yes.
I need to buy that.
So, but yeah, is like the thing that's kind of stopped all of us. It hasn't stopped me. That's why I keep writing things. I'm still working on my TV animation that time forgot book, and I'll talk about it if you have any questions about it. But if you know, as the internet has gotten more and more robust, a lot of ideas that once were considered valid and viable and could make money, kind of went away, and it takes a dedicated person who doesn't care about making big profits to continue on with a project
Well,
that
I mean,
arguably is readily available on the internet. It's like it's
Mark,
not really, but you know what I mean. It's like
Mark,
uh,
when has a single book on animation or filmmaking in general ever made money? This is not a money. Nonfiction writing is not a money
well, I
making
mean, I
medium.
think of
And
mice
by
and
Don't
an
magic.
autobiography would
unless you're
make
writing
money,
about
but
World
nothing
War
else.
II, unless you're writing about World War II conspiracy theories, you are not making money writing
You were
nonfiction.
making money
You
if you
never
write an
were.
autobiography and you're a really famous filmmaker, but
Yeah,
that's it.
but I mean,
Yeah, that's it.
mice and magic must have made
Of
some
Mice and
money.
Magic couldn't have bought Leonard Maltin even a car.
Well, it must have made some money because it came out in 3 editions. So it's like,
Yeah, no,
that has something to do with it. I mean, yes,
Popular
it could be,
demand by a very small audience.
yeah,
yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
exactly right.
I admit the audience in 1980 was a fraction of what it is now, and now it's not that big. So it's like, so, like
How much money you think you've made? You don't have to say the amount if you don't want to. How much money do you think you made from your total television book?
I'll put it this way: it wasn't worth my time to do.
What?
I wasn't making minimum wage. I'll put it that way. It wasn't worth my time to do it. If minimum wage, we'll use real minimum wage. Federal minimum wage currently is $7.50 an hour. I don't think I've been reimbursed $7.50 an hour for the year or two that it took to make that book. Working on
Yeah.
it,
Mhm.
pretty much full time. For a 2-year period. So um, if that answers your question without
That's the
answering,
one book of yours that we were
yeah,
talking about. That's
yeah.
the one book of yours that seems that everyone is a fan of. Your total television book. That seems to be
Yeah,
a favorite.
that or
Like Tim
the
Hollis and I were talking about it, and he
yeah.
said that's the book that he likes of
Well,
yours.
in the animation books, my most
But
successful one
but
has been surpassed by the monkeys books. But yeah, yeah.
but it seems that
He
everyone
go apes
likes.
over that.
But it
What?
seems that that's the one book of yours that I'd love to see an updated version of too.
Well, that's
I'd
what
love to see
that's
an updated version of the Chipmunks book because I've told you this
yeah, yeah,
before.
yeah.
I think there are flaws with the
The
Chipmunks book.
well, okay. It was a big gamble to do the Chipmunks book in the first place because everybody told me all the horror stories about the Bagdasarians. at any moment they still could do something to get me to pull that book off the shelf. I mean, it has been pulled off. Like I have a t-shirt site on, T whatever it is. I should know this so I can
Public.
T Public, yeah. And any chipmunk pictures I've ever used have been pulled. I somehow managed to keep up Harvey character pictures, but any Disney pictures, even the cover to Frozen in Ice, which has three circles of ice vaguely, I mean vaguely,
That's the other
looking
book.
like
That's the other book
Mickey
I've
Mouse.
discussed.
They made me take that down. It's
That's the other
like,
book I discussed. I've mentioned I'm not a huge fan of, but
oh, okay. Well,
Mhm.
I think you have to have grown up in that era, because anybody who likes that book grew up in that era. It's like,
yeah,
if
I mean,
because
I still think that Robin
there's,
Hood is Disney's
if you
worst film.
grew up after 1989, you have all the good cartoons that came out after 1989 to look at. You don't have to
Yeah,
look at the crap of the 60s and 70s. But I
I
grew up
love
in
the
the 60s
60s.
and 70s. That's the crap that I grew up with.
Mhm.
I
So
love the 60s Disney films.
yeah.
It's just that
You
I hate Robin Hood. I think Robin Hood is the lousiest Disney film ever produced.
yeah, well,
A
I'll agree.
lie. That's
You know.
That's a big
Now,
fat lie. There's a lot
you
worse
know,
Disney films.
I don't know what your definition of nostalgia. You love to say nostalgia is a disease. I don't think I have nostalgia in the sense of, oh, I want to return to 1973 because it's so great. No, all I have is a fondness for things that came out when I was a kid that I go,
Yeah,
hey, that's familiar. But
yeah.
if I'm going to have nostalgia for anything, my nostalgia is more like you do, stuff from the 1930s and stuff, 1940s. I have nostalgia for stuff that came out before I was born. So it's like,
Right,
you know,
exactly.
you know,
My problem with nostalgia is people who think that, oh wow, let's go back to the 60s when I guess there was wicked cool music. I'm referring
yeah,
to the meme that I
yeah.
love Michael Ventura's post on.
Oh
I
yeah.
adore that post so much.
Oh
That was
yeah, yeah.
awesome. That was
That's the
awesome.
Tennessee. I mean, no, not Tennessee, Tuxedo. The
Mr.
Peabody and
Peabody and
Sherman.
Sherman.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god, that post he did was awesome. That whole rant about why you people are the most insincere human beings in the world. That was
I mean,
awesome.
I can go back to 1973, and I can, let's say 74 to make it 50 years ago. So 1974. You know, it was a pretty cool year. I was in second grade. But we were still in the midst of that Watergate shit. We didn't know it was going to end. We thought that the presidency is kind of like
Mhm.
now with Trump, but it's like even worse because the guy actually was president at the time, and we didn't know if the country was going to go down the tubes. We were still in the Vietnam War in 1974.
There was
Prices
no
were going
internet.
up. Is what
There was no internet.
there's no
What?
internet.
You can't you can't say that's a
I
good
mean,
thing.
positive things is that's when I started reading Mad Magazine. I would kill to have Mad Magazine be new material
Yeah.
every issue again, but it's like that's not a nostalgia thing. That's just wanting new material. It's like I want it to be about current subjects, not 1974.
Mhm.
Um, 1974 was an odd year. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't love it. It's like, and I don't know if I'd want to go back to it even for a day. Jack Benny died that year at the end of the year. I remember that. It's like, and it kind of sucked because he was
Mhm.
so omnipresent. And even then, even though 80 is considered older, I didn't think he was that old. I said
Mhm.
he could have made it to like 90 or 100. That's what was my
When he was
thought.
80, I thought he was only
I
Yeah,
hate
39.
he's
I hate
80.
to
Yeah.
break it, but
Yeah.
it's been 2 hours and I'm starting to really lose focus.
Uh-oh. Oh, okay. All right. I'm not even timing it on this one. I just figured we'd be rambling. So,
I know.
uh,
I had a good time though. I really did. I
all
hope to
right.
do more.
Do you have any final thoughts, or you want to do one last promotion before we go? Anything quick?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
no.
Actually, if
Buy
anyone here
Flip
is
the
listening,
Frog.
maybe get this because it would support someone I like.
Okay. And how do they get a hold of that?
They can get a hold of it on Amazon.
Okay. All right. And Camden, anything you have to promote?
Mm. I'll promote my articles now written for the Lilly Library, the library I work at.
Yeah.
Yay, Lily! I wrote about Disney pop-up books, and I'm writing one right now about the 1955 King Feature Syndicate yearbooks.
Woo. All right. And then I'll do a quick promotion for what I'm doing. I'm still working on the TV animation. The Time Forgot TV cartoons. The Time Forgot. I don't know what I'm going to call it, and that's a slow project because right now I'm doing the indexing for Unconditionally Mad.
Mhm.
And I'm also doing promotion for my recent Turtles book. So that's about the music group, the Turtles, not Ninja Turtles, for you youngsters out there. The Happy Together Turtles. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. So anyway, well, it was a pleasure having both of you as guests. We got to do it again sometime. If you have any cool animation news that you think we should do the show right away, let me know and we'll get you back on. And this is Mark Arnold for another episode of the Fun Ideas Podcast, and we'll see you next time.